Okay, finally, it's finally started. We're gonna leave all that in. OBS, I clicked start recording like 15 seconds ago. Hi, this is Danny Doyle.
Hi.
I was singing the music because I was waiting for OBS to be like, oh, I'm gonna start now.
Because this is a good song.
That to be fair, yeah, it's a chill prep song. I like it.
Laren.
So I don't think there's any other supports we don't do from now on forever.
Maybe, I think.
The only one that we didn't do was Blair ones because we were saving it for, well, I was gonna say for Anima, but really was for the flower, right?
True.
On Avon. Or rather, Anima on Avon, but the flower on Blair from Avon, I guess would be technically accurate. The best kind of accurate.
Just wait until the Cloudburst meta on Avon. We're gonna need her to rewarp 2 tiles at some point.
If only we could, like, Cloudburst press turn. Yo, Heartseal Alexis. Cloudburst press turn. The Heartseal New Game Plus, where Alexis becomes a Troubadour. Cloudburst. Oh wait, no, it's a use, not a kill.
Yeah, you
right?
have to use it. That's the awkward part. Is you have to spend your turn using it.
Because I was gonna say, oh well, you Cloudburst press turn to get past an enemy, and then you rescue someone, but you can't. There's not even a use for it in LTC. Damn, it's so bad. There's no like 3 forts thing, right? Like where you seize without seizing. Because the other thing I was thinking is it could get at you the 2 extra tiles you need to hit a tile. But the only map where that is a thing is Zeke 2, and you don't have Cloudburst then. Because I was thinking the FE7, you know the FE7 3 forts where you seize them without clicking the seize command? So you just have to end on the tile, right? But, so you could theoretically Cloudburst onto a tile maybe, but I don't even know if that would work mechanically. Hi, this is Danny Doyle. Welcome back to TMGC 0% Growths. This is what we talk about off camera. I think we just start now, right?
I think so.
What do you think of this map, Jacob?
I like this map. It is pretty long. Just to preface, I think we're gonna be here for a sec.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing though. It's a really good lore map. You get a lot of like story in this map. And it's a really good training arc map. I think we've talked about this being the training arc map several times, where we've said like, oh, this person gets a skill at a late level, but you can train them on dragons in 20.
Yeah, because most of the enemies on this map are dragons, and the ones that are not dragons are promoted units.
Yeah, I think some of the later dragons are a little higher level, but dragons usually give pretty decent EXP.
And the stationary enemies, combined with the fact that, oh right, oh I fucked it up. Wait, okay, so we can do this. We can fix it. The enemies don't have any sort of like, they don't move unless they can attack. They're not gonna move in, or like these first ones. Not all of them play by the same rules, but for the most part, it's like enemies who don't. They're easy to like isolate 1 or 2. They're luring this one red dragon isn't going to also lure the mage dragon and the other red dragon. Like that's what I was trying to say. And we have like 500 million save points, which that's usually in a vanilla playthrough Zeke's job. Our Zeke is not level 20.
No, we have to have him partisan a dragon now.
How is he not level 20? That's too epic. At risk of making things go a little bit longer, should we talk about Simone? Interesting unit.
We should, actually.
So, Simone, there's actually a lot of people who can recruit her, and most of them get C support if you, like, deploy them this map and have them recruit her or talk to her. So, this is sort of like a... She's sort of like a choke point in terms of the supports if you don't deploy people on her joy map, like, fuck you, I guess. But as a unit herself, I'd be interested to use her because I've never used her in vanilla. She seems fine. These bases and the subsequent growths are like, whatever in terms of it's kind of what I expect from a promoted late game mage. Not pent levels of busted, but not really really bad either. It feels kind of like Saleh. Having B rank staves sort of like solidifies that sort of Saleh feeling, because if you focus, you can reach the higher rank staves, the warps and rescues and agains and stuff. But she doesn't have them for free like Pent would, which I think is, better design space to be in. Lethality is very interesting. Jacob, do you want to explain? Because it's a combat art. Do you want to say it, or should I?
Yeah, so the funny thing with lethality is it is exactly what you think it is, where it just kills the target if you hit them. But
people die when they're lethality'd.
It does sound a little silly that, with everything being a combat art, now you can just click the lethality button just whenever you say, yes, I want this person dead, lethality, please. The catch is that it costs all of your durability. You must break a weapon to lethality.
However, it's not a number, so you can have a bunch of one-use flux tomes and just lethality your way out of any business. Which is kind of funny.
What if Exhaustive Strike was good?
Well, so here's the thing, is sometimes breaking is an upside. I guess I should say, we are at chapter 20. We said that we would, do full spoiler wall down at the end of 20. But I think that we should probably push that forward and say we can do full spoiler wall down for 20. And the reason I say that, 420 weed, haha, is both from a story and gameplay perspective, it feels impossible to talk about Simone as a unit without spoiling a bunch of shit. So this is your off-ramp. If you still care about the spoilers, this is 3, 2, 1, the end. Simone, the thing that I like doing with lethality, or I don't like doing, I've never used it, but the thing that I'm theory crafting, right, is good. There's an S-rank dark weapon called the Volchi. I think we mentioned it with Svelte, kind of talked around it coyly. When it's equipped, enemies will not attack you. They still see you, but they move to attack and then don't. They just give you a hug. Yeah. So what Simone can do is lethality with Volchi as her second weapon, break the weapon that she lethality'd, and then she's completely safe on enemy phase. Which is kind of a cool strategy for some of the later maps where it can be very threatening. And in particular, there's oftentimes very threatening units that are surrounding each other, so it can be hard to delete a specific target. Hey, this ballista looks bad, but if I have anyone attack the ballista and they aren't able to get out of there, they get raffle stomped by these other guys, right? So that's a cool thing that she can do. She starts with some skills that basically just make it seize and kill boss better. This is specifically against the boss. Huge boost against bosses.
Yeah.
And then that's just a generic on map. 30 hit is pretty good, and 2 attack is pretty good. So that's cool.
Yeah. I haven't used her a whole lot. The only time I've ever used her is to get supports with certain units and to get a certain conversation with another unit.
Well, we talked about Horatio killing her already.
I'm thinking of
Aaron?
Yeah, the Aaron combo.
Yeah, so Aaron is why I said I think story stuff also needs to be on the table. Do you want to talk about Aaron?
Yeah, so Aaron does have a support with Simone, which I found out you do not have to get the support chain in order to unlock this.
Yes. Although it automatically gets it. When you get the combo, it automatically backports the support.
Yeah, so if you have a free slot, you can get the support, but if you've already, because Aaron, weirdly enough, is one of those characters that does have 6 or 7 support partners.
Interesting.
But you don't have to worry about locking yourself out of this special event if you've gotten Aaron supports already. You have to deploy Simone in chapter 25, I believe.
Yeah, the Bobbert
Alongside
chapter.
Aaron. Yeah, the Bobbert map. And have them talk to each other, and that'll unlock an event for Aaron later in the game, for like a map later.
Yeah, it's in the interlude 25X. And
what
that
I
gives
just
her a
did in that
promotion and a PRF.
Yeah. But for that map, I just put Volk on Simone and just had her run around with stabs. I didn't even have her do that much combat in that map. You can just, if you don't want to use her for combat, you can just give her the S-rank Dark Tome and use her as like another staffer, I guess, if you really want to.
Yeah, and she can be benched the whole time before that, just because she already has S.
Yep.
And that is also a C's map.
Yes,
map
so she
that
does
she's,
get her
like, so her
bonuses and
stuff's on.
everything. So she does get the extra hit rate and stuff.
Which, this is attack, not magic, so it won't bolster her staffing if you're just doing the staff stuff, but like, hey, that's functionally 29 magic for the sake of, like, combat. Functionally 22 speed. So that's pretty good. And then the hit rate, I'm not gonna, like, calculate how much skill that you gain off of that. Is it 1 skill equals 2 hit, right? So it's functionally 35 skill. I lied, I did calculate it.
Yeah, it's something like that, because it's 1 skill equals 2 hit.
Yeah, so it's a lot. The reason we recruited her turn 1, by the way, is because as a green unit, she will use sleep on the dragons, and I don't want to do that.
We might need that later. There's so many better things we could be sleeping than these dragons.
There is a staff that I would like Simone to get, though.
Oh, and which one is that?
Well, I would consider this sort of an extension of the unit review, because you might have noticed 19 promoted, that's really late. Is lethality really going to be a thing? The strategy is you Wrathstaff Paragon Ring. I'll just grab Yoink, because, like, why not? Oh, wait, do I have a...
Also, we have a health goal.
You Wrathstaff Paragon Ring. She, like, survives against the dragons. I think she needs inspiration, but she can survive a hit against the dragons. You just keep healing her up, Wrathstaff Paragon Ring, and she does so little damage. She can, like, get to 19 on this map. It happens. And so, like, here's my thought process, right? Hello, Desmond.
Yay!
Okay, so what do you think about the Desmond C-rank swords? Because I think it's good. I like being able to use the full triangle and, like, fully take advantage of Triangle Adept. But I've heard from quite a few people that it's actually really bad because with Lancefarer, you basically don't care about the triangle anymore. You only use lances. And, like, all other factors being equal, I use lances on Desmond. But I used swords and axes on him when I had him as a combat unit in my playthrough. I did him long term, just because the Triangle Adept is still good. Like, it's not as good as Lancefarer, but the hit and avoid and stuff, I don't know.
I think the swords are a good option because there's just cool swords you can use. I think it's, like, more options are always good. I don't think there's, like, a downside at all, but I didn't use it a whole lot because I was too busy doing mostly Lancefarer stuff, but I don't know, having options is always super useful.
Also, I said hit and avoid, and I should correct myself. It's just hit because it only affects Desmond's weapon, not the foe's.
I guess I'm trying to think if there's any, like, cool swords he could use.
Mangush.
Mangosh.
Yeah, you just fill up the inventory. You fill up his inventory so that he can do weapon triangle stuff, and then you Mangush.
Just drop everything.
By the way, if in case you don't have them, there's dragon weapons here.
Yep. It's just like in FE1, where you can buy, like, Worm Slayers in the penultimate map.
Wait, this is the penultimate map? Shit, the series is gonna be done so soon.
Oh no!
Well, it's been fun. He's ratioing so hard.
Eat ratio.
So you might have noticed a weird inclusion Charlie. I want to get them Shining Bow, Silver Bow. God damn. I want to get them bow range +1 because I suspect that short bow, even in 0 growths, is going to be really fucking good.
Yeah. I can see it being really useful. Plus, it means we get to use Charlie.
Bow range +1 is what, level 12 for them?
I actually don't remember.
Yes.
It's level 12, that's not too bad.
So I have Night Ring, Paragon Ring on them. We will mend you up, Buttercup. And that's the other, like, the other big reason why it's probably gonna be slow going. Let's just trade you a heal staff instead of the sleep staff, so that you can... Oh, hey, look! Oh, hey, look, Simone Horatio.
Woo!
Our favorite ship.
Surely nothing bad will happen.
Surely nothing bad will come of this. Banana, banana.
Hey, at least if we're gonna have a really long map, we get this really chill map music to listen to in the meanwhile.
I wish I had prepared conversational topics, not gonna lie, because it feels like... This feels like it would be sort of the perfect opportunity for a podcast episode. I mean, this is basically still going to be a podcast episode, but I guess the question would be, what do you want to talk about, Jacob?
Let's see. What are some controversial Fire Emblem topics? To maintain viewership, too.
Well, okay, how about this one? Let's try this one on for... not save. Let's try this one on for size. So, I just lifted the spoiler wall. Should we talk about the Vidians? That's, like, surprisingly, that's still controversial.
Yeah, I guess... Look, if someone's this far into the run, they're probably pretty cool with spoiler stuff.
I mean, they have to be. I lifted the wall. I lifted the wall.
Yeah.
We tore it down.
I guess because, like, another fun thing, like, we're about to get into some pretty spoilery stuff, so, again, like, this is your chance to go play this yourself, because I think it's way more fun to play this game blind.
This story's awesome and epic.
Yeah, the story is awesome, so, like, please experience the story blind while you can. It's so amazing. But, just in case you haven't, I really like how they handled the end of the Vidian arc.
Well, let's say what it is for in case someone, so that they know what we're talking about. In case there's someone who hasn't heeded our warnings. You know, we did the Zeke arc earlier, right?
Yes.
And that was a sort of like side story with Zeke as the main lord, and a bunch of other characters, a bunch of other fun dudes. Vidian arc is the same thing. There's 13 of them, which is an unlucky number, and after 4 chapters, it's 5 long instead of 3, and after 4 chapters, there's an interlude where you are told, hey, Vidian needs to send some scouts on a dangerous mission. They won't see Vidian again for a long time. Who will you send? And the clear implication of that is pick 3 of these units that you've gotten to get to know over 4 maps and kill them. But that's not what it actually is. The other 10 die, actually. You can't send Vidian, they will always die. And you can't send, there's a dancer, Chartreuse, Vidian gets their own dancer. And she will always die. But among the other 11, you only get to pick 3 of them. So functionally, it's pretty similar to the Tearing Saga, Call of the Armor, Bells of Balin, an Unexpected Caller unit selections, where... Oh, Hagen White does this too, where you get presented some number of units, X number of units, and you're told pick Y many. Here's X, you can only pick some of them. The number varies depending. You functionally get to pick 3, but the way it's different is you spend time with all 11 of your options and learn how they function, not only from a gameplay perspective, but also a story perspective. They have supports with each other. They're all very present in the story. So you get to know them. And the story says they died. It's not just, oh, well, you didn't recruit them. They're fucking dead. They're dead.
Yeah. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, there is no saving the other units.
The other thing that is different from just a simple select 3 of these units of the 11 is the game doesn't tell you that's what you're doing. And in fact, it lies to you, kind of, which is, I think, what people take a lot of issue with, is... I can't fully relate because I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to send the dancer. The story makes it clear someone's gonna die. Like, there's a lot of foreshadowing. This is a tragic story, right? Yes. So... The area where I can't relate is I spent a long time thinking, like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna die? Are they gonna be the only survivors? Or, the third option, there's gonna be a map later on where the Vidians join Blair's group, and you get the initial 11 on their own, but, the other 3 are in sort of a dangerous situation on their own. Kind of like in Sacred Stones, Ines, Tethys, and Garrick are sort of like cornered by enemies and you have to save them. Or Fire Emblem 4 does that with Claude and Teltu and Bridget.
Where you kind of have to go rescue them.
Yeah. So I spent a long time thinking, and I ultimately decided I'm gonna send... I think I prepared for both option of they will die and option of they will be in danger. Or I prepared for they will live and they will be in danger. So I sent my favorite of them. I sent 2 of my favorites from a character perspective. And then I sent one who I was like, you're really strong. You can protect the frail one just in case it's like they're on a battlefield, right? So yeah. I didn't get the experience that I know a lot of people got and were upset with of... Oh shit, I sent people I didn't like, and the ones I liked I tried to keep safe and they died, right? And I think that is that's an intended experience. Like, I don't think it's... The tooltip doesn't say the ones you keep will live. The tooltip very explicitly says they won't see Vidian for a long time. And that was what ultimately tipped me off, as I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, oh, they won't see Vidian until they die. That's what it means. And so that's how I, like, came to the conclusion. Also, Zeke, you're hanging out down here.
Because my interpretation of it was, the way I read the tooltip at the start was you pick 3 units and you get them back in chapter 21. Mm-hmm. Whoever you send, you'll get immediately back, while the rest of the squad will join probably maybe around, chapter 25, 26, pretty late into the game, and they'll have their own story thing going on or whatever. So you're basically picking, like, which 3 do you want back first, effectively.
Is it just Blair Inspiration, or do we need Bannerlands too?
Oh,
or is it not? Because you're big defense, aren't? Yeah, you're big defense.
Yeah, the Earth Dragons, I'd be very shocked if she ever did damage to them. Oh, shoot, we don't have Avon for inversion.
Oh, maybe that's what the meta is. I'm not going back at this point, you know?
Oh, this is the map you get the flower on. We're so washed.
What do you mean?
This is the map where you get the Blair flower.
Shit! I thought it was at camp! No! I put that in the thumbnail! I fucked up!
Oh no.
Maybe I'll put Avon in the thumbnail instead. I don't think that one's public yet.
Oopsies.
Yeah, I think as of time of recording, the most recent one that went up was Campfire.
Whoops-a-daisies.
Tomorrow, because we're recording this on a Friday, tomorrow, the, Zeke finale goes up.
Zeke, he's so cool.
29 is basically 60, so it'd be 19. Can you deal 19? Yeah, okay. I'm trying to get weapon rank on Horatio. Right, so what I was gonna say is a lot of people I know are upset that, like, oh, the game lied to me, right? Because it's implying one thing when it is kind of the opposite, right? Never mind, Horatio's kill stealer.
The game very much wants you to believe that you're sending these 3 units off to their death.
And here's...
It never explicitly states it, but it is very deliberately leading you on, I think.
And here's the thing, is I can understand being upset about that, right? I think you're supposed to be upset about that. But I always viewed it as, like, when I'm watching a TV show and a character that I really like dies, I'm also upset about that. But that doesn't mean that's bad writing.
Yeah, it's sad, but I am a sucker for a tragedy story. I love a story that just makes me bawl. I love a good sad story. So I adored it. I thought it was actually peak. I was like, oh my gosh. And I haven't played a lot of hacks or whatever, so I don't have as much to go off of. But I mean, my first thought when it happened was like, IS would never. That was my initial thought about completing 5X, was I'm experiencing something that the main series is never gonna pull. Like, there is a 0% chance we're ever gonna get something like Vidian art in a mainline game.
Because they're cowards. I'm glad that I didn't run those calcs. I'm glad that I fucking didn't die there. Right, okay, so you use glitched on this map also.
Yeah, the scrolling background does some weird stuff with, like, the texturing and backgrounds and overlays.
Do you think they can do it? Where's... You're all the way over here? God damn, okay. So did you do that? We might not be getting lethality. We better not be getting lethality, gamers.
Yeah, I feel like getting lethality is gonna be tricky.
I'm much more...
Because I think we're more... I know we want Resolve, Double Lion, and Bow Range +1, correct? Those are kind of like... We know for certain we want those 3.
What the fuck is the strat? Wait, was it just a lie?
So, I thought you were giving her the Wrath Staff because I've heard a strat that I don't remember if it actually works, but you lethality with the Wrath Staff.
Oh, wait, is this the strat? Hold on, this might be the strat. It might be literally just stand here with the Wrath Staff equipped and gain fucking, like, 2 experience at a time or something.
How much defense do the Mage Dragons have?
16 still.
Wait,
that's ice.
Oh, the one on the throne.
9.
Oh yeah, they only have 9. There's some Mage Dragons later. I could maybe see her being able to kill Mage Dragons.
You can kill the... Yeah, you kill the Mage Dragons. Okay, because, look, she's got a 19 attack, right? And that's without any boosts. Which I guess would be the way you do it, right?
Was that 19 attack or AS?
She's 7 attack. Banner, she fucking doesn't!
Yeah.
The fuck is this lie? Oh wait, no, it's 9 defense, not 19. She does. Okay, you give...
Okay, yeah.
You give... Oh, okay, so Zeke, you've been promoted from save point. Swagperius, you're on save point duty.
Oh, are we not gonna go for resolve?
Oh, yeah, actually, okay.
I think, well, Blairspiration. I think, yeah, I don't think we really need Agnes up here.
So, what we do, you heal them. Right, okay, so Vidians. We wanted to podcast about the Vidians.
Yeah.
Not doubling. Cringe. So there is, you know, like, the gameplay consequence, right? And I can also understand, like, if you really liked a specific Vidian, and then that Vidian died because you were misinformed, totally understand being, like, upset about that, right? Wait, who has oh, right, you have Paragon.
Simone
Okay, so
Paragon.
you... Look, it's hard to manage all that. But...
There's a lot going on.
Again, I'm speaking not from having the experience of doing it, but from having spoken to people who... One of my friends said, like, oh, you know, I sent my 3 least favorite, including one who I didn't even Master Seal, because, like, I didn't even Master Seal. I sold the Master Seal because I was like, well, if I'm gonna kill you anyway, I might as well not Master Seal you, right? And then he shows up, I think it was Wilfred, or Wilhelm. It was probably Wilhelm. Wilhelm
Probably.
Feels like the fucking, well, I'm not using you anyway, I might as well sell your Master Seal guy. He shows up unpromoted in a really hard Fog of War escape map. And they were like, oh my fucking god. And then he got a fucking busted ass level up just because he was being used, because it was everyone, you know, you might as well if he's free. And now Wilhelm is their favorite Vidian. And so, like, those sorts of stories, right? Like, that sort of experience is what you're missing out on by just... If you're just approaching Fire Emblem from a... Like, if you're not trying to engage with the story, then sure, losing out on the thing you gain gameplay-wise, there's no benefit to. 46 attack. Are those the piercing ones? What pierces? Does Firestone pierce?
I don't think any of them pierce. I know Mage Stones hit on red.
We'll just do that just in case. These inventories. Someone's probably having a conniption over them. And that's peak.
It's funny you mentioned the like suddenly growing attached to like the unit you tried to kill off. It kind of reminds me of whenever I was younger watching like old Nuzlocke streams and you like randomizer Nuzlocks. And you know the streamer would like catch a Pokemon and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe our one encounter here was this thing." And then later it becomes like a main series member and it's like, "Oh my gosh, like this person's going to take us to the end."
That's happened to me.
It's like that's a story. Like that's something I get out of Iron Man in games. The FU11 Hard 4 run is some of the most fun I have had playing Fire Emblem. And most of it just came from like the build your own narrative of units dying and units popping off.
It really is cool.
Story. Like every playthrough or most playthroughs of Iron Man's are going to be like unique per person. Like it's going to be your story. that you're experiencing. Like I remember there was a whole thing about Roche was the only wolf guard that survived. So it was like, oh
shit.
now Roche.
Oh, they're all moving.
Oh,
they're all moving.
Oh, they coming.
Alright, who has Paragon right now? Flynn has Paragon. Okay.
How well do you think Charlie takes the flyers?
Well, so I have to heal them, but
Yeah.
I think they can one-round the flyers. Like, the current plan is Flynn does this, fucking living at 1 HP peak, and then because he has the Paragon band, they can trade it and kill 2 flyers after a dance. But I can check the forecast, you know? Because you don't move. What the fuck?
Silverbow?
What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay.
Oh,
Blairspiration. Yeah, Blairspiration.
Oh, look
I
at
mean,
that.
that's something. What level are you? I mean, that'll be a decent chunk of experience. All right. I think. Can the because he kills.
Oh.
I mean, like, there's no reason not to, right? Because how does she do against this guy, right?
Oh, upsetting.
No, because just heal an enemy face. This is choke point. So the ratio, or actually, instead of, because I was thinking the ratio anima experience, but I think actually what we do is, okay, I want to get the Paragon band to Simone afterwards. So I think we have you go here, you heal them. Blair. Oh, if we're doing Blairspiration,
if you
Blair should be
her, like,
here.
Yes, because then we can kill both in Blairspiration range with the dance. Flynn might need to get moved out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, we got mounts to do that.
Rescue dropping.
So Shining Bow, you.
Yeah.
You're stationary. Yours just making sure. Okay, just making sure. Because then we Shining Bow you, and let's make sure we kill both before committing to this. Yes, okay. So we
Static
trade
stats, my beloved.
the Paragon Ring. Shining Bow you. Okay, but what I was gonna say is if you only think about Fire Emblem from like a spreadsheet perspective, and you're upset that like, oh, I lost, like, Frederick's sort of the meta best Vidian because he's a Wyvern Rider, he's got really good stats. You know, it's everything that you expect from a boring but good unit. Then I can totally get being, like, upset about that, but TMGC is a game where even if all you care about is the framework, like, we're not deploying people specifically for their personalities, and even then, we're struggling to have enough deployment slots for, hey! Pat. For all of our units, and this is in a zero growth setting. In a growth context, you absolutely have more than enough people that even if you get just 3 absolute dog shit Vidians who nobody gives a damn about, you're not using them, Bob's not using them, Brian's not using them, even Brian doesn't want to use them. Like, that's how fucking shit they are. Brian won't use them. I don't know who Brian is, but Brian uses all the Vidians except for the shit ones. That's the new lore. New lore, Brian.
I can't believe
Brian loves the Vidians but hates the shit ones. The new lore.
Brian hates Callum so much for some reason. I can't believe this.
Hey, does that mean I'm Brian? Because I hate Callum so much for some reason, and the reason is Callum.
Don't worry, that means everyone is, because nobody likes
Everyone is Brian now. It's the Spartacus scene. I'm Brian. I'm Brian. I'm Brian. So welcome to the channel, Brian. My point. Even if all you care about is from a stat spreadsheet perspective, then I feel like you're not actually hurt as badly as you might think from losing those 3 units. And I've done a run where I didn't use any Vidians, just to show this, and even then I was like, I've got so many units, how do I fucking deploy all of them? I've got so many units and not enough slots, and I'm not using Vidians. But if you are engaging with the story, right, and you're upset that somebody you love from a story perspective died, or even upset that, someone died because it was my decision to have them die, right? There's a couple of Vidians who are children, and I imagine that for some people, it's I'm never gonna send Rose or Eliza because they're children, I'm not putting them in danger, right? And then they died because the danger was at home all along. That's something out of a fucking TV show or movie, that sounds like, right? Damn, I kept them in the bunker to protect them from the danger, and it turns out there was a gas leak in the bunker, and now they're dead. That's some shit that gets me hooked! So if you care about it from a storytelling perspective, totally understand being upset that someone you liked died, but that's cinema, baby, and not in the way that people say to the Minecraft movie, oh my god, cinema, but in the way that you know, there's a reason that the video game death that gets talked about the most out of any at all whatsoever is the Final Fantasy girl. I don't know who, but there's a Final Fantasy girl who dies, and for 1.5 million years, there were playground rumors of well, you can save the Final Fantasy girl, you just have to do 17 backflips and transfer Mew from under the truck and yada yada yada. And it's because how impactful you get to know her, not just playable. That's the other thing is it feels like they wouldn't do that, right? Comparing it to vanilla Fire Emblem, right? The first Fire Emblem I ever played was Path of Radiance. And minor spoilers for Path of Radiance, and I mean minor because it's a subplot that goes almost nowhere. There is a running subplot that someone in Ike's army is leaking information to the enemy. There's a traitor. And it was my first Fire Emblem, and I was just holy shit, who's the traitor? I'm training up all these people, I'm getting to know them, I'm learning to love, oh my god, Boyd, you're so cool, but what if Boyd's the traitor? And I'm investigating all of their, fucking everything that they say and their, personalities and stuff, right? 41 versus 12. Okay, so if I heal them up, yeah, okay. So, do this. And then it turns out that the traitor is just a random-ass NPC, Nasir, who has been in, a couple of scenes. He's, the boat captain, who was the captain of the boat, carrying you around and stuff. And I just remember when that happened, I was that's really disappointing, because he's just a guy. I don't care about him at all. They had this whole mystery, and then the answer to the mystery was a nothing burger.
I'm going to be real, I completely forgot that was a plot beat in the story.
And that's why I say it's barely a thing. That's why I say it's barely a thing.
Yeah, I guess another example of, this one's kind of related as well, is Fire Emblem Warriors. I guess spoilers for Fire Emblem Warriors. Not
that also has a traitor.
Fire Emblem Warriors. for Nintendo Switch that came out forever ago.
Yeah.
It's a traitor story. Like, someone backstabs you, and the instant they said there is a traitor, I knew exactly who it was, because it's the one friend character that should have been playable for the entire game, but they are a green unit for the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, if this guy wasn't the traitor, he would very clearly be playable. They just don't want you to invest resources in the character who's going to leave you permanently.
And it just makes it feel so unimpactful.
And what do you know? I was right. That's exactly who it was. And I just remember going like, okay, I'm sure that could have been like an impactful story beat if like I don't know. I love resource management. I love like managing my stat boosters, managing my levels, managing like my offhands. I love like doling out resources and making sure I'm using them well. So the like pulling the floor out from under you, and it's like, oops, this person's gone now, and it's like, oh wait, now I got to work around this. I have to like that really took me by surprise. I would have never suspected that because like the game let me use this person.
We're just gonna bar
train. The closest we've ever had to something like that is like Orson and FE8, where you get to use him for one map.
And people get mad about Orson too, like, which is so silly to me. But people do get mad about Orson too.
I think the funniest part is people who say to like not use Orson at all, like whatever you do, like do not like kill anything with Orson, and I'm like, just go for it. It is a-okay to like feed kills to Orson if it makes the map easier, it makes the map flow better.
MFs will say get rid of all of Orson's weapons, and FE8 Chapter 5X is incredibly slow and tedious in the same breath, and I do agree that Chapter 5X is awful, but you're not doing it any favors, right?
Like, there is a way to make this quicker. You just have to be willing to not get 15 EXP and understand that because of the nature of rubber banding EXP, you will make it up later.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that, like, because I'm playing another hack that has a similar situation. I won't say what hack or get too much into the specifics, but in that hack, there's not like a sub-arc. It is related to units who are in the main army, right? And we sort of had this discourse on a stream about that, where the argument that came up from the this is bad crowd, right, was, well, what if you invested resources? What if you invested resources? And the only resources you could have invested at that point are a secret book and a goddess icon and an angelic robe. So, like, there's 3 stat boosters, and then some master seals. If a unit leaves you permanently and you invested a master seal into them, you actually get one back that you wouldn't normally, which, you know, solves the first problem, right, of the master seal. Stat boosters, secret book plus goddess icon are not a huge deal, and while, like, angelic robe can be a big deal on the right unit, I think for most units it's not. Oh, I forgot to bring a thief. I forgot there were chests.
Oh, we still have keys, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
are there more than 3 chests?
I'm very certain there's 2 chests. I'm like 90% certain there's 2 chests.
I thought about bringing Holly, because there's a stealable staff in, like, the final area. I think the idea is Aaron recruiting Simone encourages you to bring her.
Yeah.
So I think that's the chest idea.
I'm trying to remember where I keep this, so that way I can. I'm trying to look it up in Builder real quick, just to make sure there is only the 2.
I'm getting some mends because we broke our heals, and I think we have the gold for it. But so then the last thing that you could have potentially invested is experience, and that's not really a factor with the Vidians, although there are boots you can invest with the Vidians. And I've never spoken to someone who spent the boots on someone who died. Do you know anyone who spent the boots on someone who died? Because I feel like that's something someone would make us think about.
Because most people I know, they buy the boots and they just kind of hold on to them and just...
Oh no! Because you lose all the items!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking funny! That's why you don't hoard your stat boosters, kids.
So that's kind of some of it is like, oh, you buy the boots, and then they just don't give them to anyone because, oh, I'll leave them in the convoy. I want to give those boots to, like, so-and-so back in Blair's army.
Oh, but the way you do that is you put that in a scout's inventory, though.
Yeah.
Level 10. They only need 2.
But
okay.
It's so awesome. It's... We'll probably end up talking about it more when we get to it, but...
Oh, definitely. There'll be an entire video devoted to the choice. Because, you know, it is its own chapter in being the paralogue. But you can't have wasted experience because, you know... I guess technically you could have soloed with 3 scouts, but, like, you're not fucking doing that, don't lie.
No, those maps are designed around using all of the units that you have at that point.
You can't have wasted a Master Seal with the Vidians because, you... Fuck!
Oops.
We didn't lose that much time. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
I lied! We actually spent a lot of time. We're way back here. It's a shame I was actually, like, just about to save, too. But, oh, well, we'll probably do the experience, like, a little bit differently. Like, I'm baiting with Flynn this time, but, you know, we'll see. But I want to finish talking about the Vidians first, but then you wanted to talk... I'm really fucking good at Fire Emblem.
Mad tilted.
Alright, I'm leaving that in. That's too funny not to. But yeah. We are now... actually, factually gonna do this. Also gonna heal Charlie. And then I think what we do is Charlie goes up here, so we ensure that we, like, lure the way that we want. I guess we would dance like that. Right, so Vidians. I don't think you've, like, wasted any resources on them. I think that it's, like, hugely impactful from a story perspective. I really just don't see the downside, and I feel like... maybe this will be what fucking gets me canceled. I feel like being upset about the fact that, like, I don't get my perfect ending that literally everyone survives in, it feels fucking childish to me is what it feels like. Like, it feels like... it's... yeah, it feels childish. It feels like I want literally everyone to survive, and I'm mad that they didn't, and I think that is bad writing. And, like, that's what happens in kids' shows, because they don't want kids to have to, like, get sad, right? And it's what happens specifically in, like, bad kids' shows. IMO. Yeah, I just don't... I don't know. That's my controversial take.
It also helps give the story, like, more stakes.
Yeah!
I guess, it's like, oh, like, people can actually die. Like, we're not just safe because the restart button is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't save everyone. Like, that's just the sad reality, is... like, some units are going to die.
You didn't move.
Maybe it's when you bait the paladins they move?
Oh, probably.
They're probably linked to the paladins to move.
Okay.
There's also lots of other little storytelling in choosing Vidians, because the units are kind of, like, in groups. You have, like, you know, Dean, Dirk, Eliza, they're like one group. You have like, you know, the Wilhelm Manfred are like a pair. So you have like these groups of units. So if you assume that like, oh, we'll see each other again later, just some come back earlier, and you split those groups for any reason, now you have like the narrative of like, oh, like Wilhelm's best friend. Wilhelm lost like one of his best friends, or like Rift lost like the person he's been traveling with for the past long while, like a companion that he's been with for a while to keep him company in his travels.
In my blind playthrough, which I streamed, I sent Eliza, who's a tiny little cleric girl, because she was one of my favorite units, and I was like, well, you know, she's a power staffer, just in case, like, I'll send her to survive, right? And the other... So the Vidians you don't save become the Dead Lords. And so... I had her... Because you get a kill quote between certain Vidians and the Dead Lord who's been, like...
reanimated, almost.
Her brother Dirk, I don't like him as a character that much, because he just feels like his whole personality is, I will protect my little sister, which I just find kind of boring. But obviously Eliza likes him a lot because she's his little sister. So I got that kill quote, and I actually fucking cried. About this character I don't care about, because of a character who I do care about, who won't get to see him again, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, really fucking
it's really
good.
Touching. Gosh, I can't imagine how sad it is. I mean, we're gonna have to face this. We're sending Frederick.
Yeah, I've sent Frederick before.
And I think that's like one of the saddest Vidians you can choose to send. Because on the opposite side of history, where you don't send Frederick, you get the Vidian Frederick A support.
It's a paired ending, a romantic paired ending.
Yeah, it's a romantic A support between each other. It's actually the first one you can get in the entire game. It's the first romantic A support you'll see throughout the entire game. And it's so it's the A supports in this game are written so well, but that one in particular gets me every single time. It's so beautiful, and I cannot imagine sending Frederick ever. Like, I know I probably will at some point just to try him out, but like I can't do that. I can't separate those two. That's
I know there are some people who refuse to on principle, and I respect that.
Like you can't do that. I don't know if I could make myself do that. That would just be too sad. And I love it when a game like invokes that kind of feeling. It's like this is a fictional character, but like I don't care. Like, I'm still invested. I'm still. It's beautiful. Doesn't Charlie with Zeke Charm Oko the Flyers?
Zeke Charm and Blairspiration, right?
Oh, she needs both.
Oh, maybe it was just one, because I have Blairspiration right now.
Oh, we're gonna have her go, or have them go around. That's right.
Yeah, they do that. Oh, yeah. Did I say she? I'm sorry. I'm in gamer mode. I'm sorry. I really try not to do that. Because it annoys me when people do that.
I think I might have by accident also earlier. So sorry if I did as well. That's Charlie's epic they them sniper.
I was in not only like focused gamer mode, but also I got distracted thinking about the Eliza Dirk quote, which is so fucking good. If you haven't seen it and you don't feel like playing an entire playthrough just to see the kill quote, there's a conversation viewer you can view. You don't even need to have cleared data. You can view every single conversation in the game. So that would be my recommendation is go view that.
It is really good. There's so many of those, like, kill combos in that map, and I love it.
So, there's no... Oh, I forgot to give them the Paragon Ring.
No.
Wasted experience, the Pharaoh's Curse.
We will never recover from this.
Okay, here's how we do it. I'm glad that we're constantly giving axes to Simone to build her axe rank.
Dark and evil war cleric.
Jesus Christ. So fucking frail, yeah. Okay, well... I guess we just... rescue you. And we'll do it next turn. Yeah, so that's the Simone thing. Oh, right, the reason I brought up experience is I wanted to say that even in the case where you do lose experience, because for the other hack, that was an argument that people brought up, I think Fire Emblem players in general overestimate the importance of EXP routing.
Yeah. I used to be guilty of that. I used to be so, like, I gotta make sure I get all my EXP mapped out so I can get my certain units leveled up where I need to, but...
Yeah, so, like, it's not something
really
you should pay no attention to in a no-grinding context, especially if you're trying to train up, like, a training project, you know, like your Ninos and whatnot. You want to try and make sure you are doing things, you know, properly or whatever, right? And in some of the, like, more difficult games, like, so Three Houses is a big one for, Byleth's personal skill, like, leveraging the Paragon Ring to get people to specific level thresholds. Getting as many people as possible to level 10 by Chapter 5 makes that map so much easier, and I think that's the hardest map in Maddening mode, personally. So, like, there are instances where it comes up.
But usually, due to the rubber banding nature of EXP, like, you're going to kind of catch up at some point.
And, yeah, exactly. And, as a result, I think that the idea of the game tricked me into investing my EXP into, you know, a unit that the game then won't let me beat. Or, I guess, to go further, the sort of sunk cost fallacy, wherein you... Oh, right, that's what we need both of them for. It's her. She deals, like, 1 damage with both.
Yeah.
This is gonna be so fucking epic. Well!
It's perfect.
We'll be here for a bit. Who has the Night Ring? They have the Night Ring, right? Yeah, so we'll give it to Blair so that Blair can pop in and out to heal up Simone. This is so fucking epic.
So, I think what kind of...
Holy shit! That was for Chip! Oh, right! Because it's a kill!
Yeah, the Rat Staff gives kill EXP.
I forgot about that! Yo, kiddos, strap in!
It's time. What was I thinking of again?
This is the strat.
Oh yeah. I remember now. I think what helped put my... Is Emil freaking dead?
Oh, fuck!
Oh, wait.
Doubled, bolting. I'm so fucking good at Fire Emblem. We'll just cut back to this, because I can't be trusted.
Yeah, it'll be fine. about saving 12 turns from now and then hit him out of nowhere and save.
Yeah, so I think that just caught you. The recording started halfway between when your sentence started, but I'm gonna leave it like that because I think it's funny.
Very funny.
Because this is just that kind of episode. This is that kind of podcast episode. I'm trying to bring the FE1 0% growth energy in for one episode because that was very fun.
Wasn't that one of like the first things you ever recorded altogether?
I record the FE1.
The actual gameplay for the FE1. Well, wasn't that like? I feel like I remember you mentioning it was recorded like a long time ago.
I thought I gave her the thing. I recorded it like 2 or 3 years prior to it going up. I was still living in North Carolina at the time. I recorded it because I was working at. I will not disclose the location because I don't want to open myself up to like legal trouble. But I was working in mental health at like a school. And because of my disability, it was like shortly after I got my back injury. And because of that, I couldn't do like because we had to be able to, so without giving too much information, it was a population, we did not specialize in, but they were prone to self-harm and suicide attempts. So we had, and violence towards others. So we had to be able to physically prevent them from that. And because of my, I have sciatica that makes it so that like even just standing can be painful sometimes. So I had to get moved to the night shift where there's less physicality. Only a certain number of people need to be able to be physical. I still had to be trained in, there's a special method that we used. It's undergone a number of name changes, and again, like legal reasons I'm just not gonna say. But there's a special method that is used to restrain without harming, without risking harm. Because, not to get political, but y'all remember, oh, nice.
Oh, right, we're getting staff rank too.
But yeah, when you're like restraining people, there's proper and improper ways to do things so that you risk harm and potentially even death or don't risk it. So like tackling someone to the ground, you can asphyxiate them, right? I'm getting wildly distracted. The point is, I was working at nights. Oh, nice. We also got...
Oh, wow. Double A rank.
I mean, that's an again staff for us.
Yeah.
The point is I was working at nights, and because the majority of our clients were asleep, we were actually allowed to bring books, laptops, video games. I brought a PlayStation 5 in sometimes. And as long as we were only using a singular headphone, singular headphone, and also we had to be, like aware of stuff. And then if someone was on increased risks, there's different restrictions in terms of like, well, you can't actually have anything. You have to be staring at them all night, right?
Yeah.
But when I was just on like regular duty, I was allowed to play video games.
Or are we killing this turn?
No, we're dancing.
Just wanted to jump in just in case the autopilot was doing stuff.
The reason I put Todd here was just in case I fucky wuckied.
Yeah.
I wanted to just get Chip because everything is a kill for Simone.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It is a high crit weapon. It has like 20 crit built into it.
Yeah, because the hope was to kill with Flynn.
And this works. Something, rubber banding, EXP, it'll wash out or something, hopefully, potentially.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. But yeah, I did record FE1 a long time ago. I recorded it at work on a shitty laptop. That's also why the footage quality is so bad. Both because it's old, Cause okay, here's a I'm very good at my job moment. I didn't realize OBS had a setting to increase footage quality until like a year ago.
Oh, incredible. That happens.
So like all of my older videos are just so low quality.
Well, for anyone playing this map, make sure that if you're going to seize, probably wait until the start of the next player phase, or make sure like a bunch of your units still have actions.
Well, I mean, as long as you're not like overextending, you can see where the next one is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge deal. Like I just was like, yeah, I'll do whatever. Maybe I'm bad at my job.
Oh, we actually did find out there's 3 chests on this map, so...
But thankfully, our
it's
chest key
a
is 3
chest
uses.
key.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Right, so we talked about EXP, we talked about the Vidians.
There's one more thing about the EXP I was going to bring up that I forgot that I was going to mention. Because it's what helped me realize like how EXP routing is not as important as you may initially think.
Mm-hmm.
To keep me from like being hypersensitive, like, oh, I gotta make sure I feed this kill to this person or whatever. Think about like how many kills it takes to get a level up, and then like especially in GBA, how many stats go up on a level up usually. Like I'd say in GBA like 3 stats is like an average good level up, depending on what stats they are.
I've really been making use of my whole army.
Because at that point, once I realized that, I was like, oh, like by the time it takes, 6 or 7 kills to get like 4 stats on a unit, let's assume it's like HP, strength, skill, and res. It's like, huh, that's not as impactful as like it sounds in my mind to get a level up. Like it's still good, but it's not as like, oh my gosh, like if this person doesn't get this kill right here, they're gonna be like washed for the next 3 maps unless I play catch up.
I think something that happens with the internet, right, is there are often like hyper optimizations that you can do in video games. Where the fuck is that iron axe? It's on like Simone Flynn or someone.
Wait, it is. Okay,
it is on Simone. I knew it was on one of the fuckers, but I didn't like. I traded that iron axe around so much. I don't want to kill with her, which is why I'm not using the Draco axe. Like I'm just baiting. Oh wait, fuck. No, wait. I changed my mind about that. I forgot. I was gonna have Swagperius do it. Because he could actually like benefit from so what I was gonna there's like some hyper optimizations you can do, right, that are really cool and fun in a lot of video games. And I feel like there's a thing that happens where people will see that, especially if you're like a challenge runner, right? Oftentimes challenge runs will require, or at least benefit from, that hyper optimization. Like look at LTCs. I think a great example within a Fire Emblem is in Don Don's 0% growth's LTC of Fire Emblem 7. It was a full recruitment playthrough, which means that in order to recruit Carla, Bartra had to be promoted level 5 in 0% growth's lowest turns possible. So there were some very funny optimizations, experience optimizations, that were required for that. However...
This sounds really fun to try to map. Very wacky.
Yeah! However, the thing to bear in mind is that is not a normal playthrough, right? That is an extreme challenge run. And even then, like, that's a specific element of the extreme challenge run that needs to be, like, optimized. On a normal playthrough, the fact that... one of the better players, one of the best Fire Emblem players in the world was able to do that, under all of those conditions, I think is a good way, is sort of shows that in a more, like, casual, traditional run, you don't need that level of optimization. They have fucking linked AI to each other. That's wild.
Hey, I like it when enemies like move unprovoked a lot of the times, and they're far enough away that it's like, oh, you have like plenty of time to like react to them moving.
It's interesting to see which enemies are linked and which ones are not. Because normally I'm not taking this map at baby pace. I've never gone this baby pace with it before. So it's really interesting that, like, because I know that guy moves without you being in his range, but I just thought he always moved. But no, he moves, he's linked to that specific Earth Dragon. Oh, I forgot to give Paragon. Fuck.
No.
See, the thing is, lest we be accused of being hypocrites, I think this is a challenge run where getting these specific things online as fast as we can is legitimately going to be super helpful.
We're playing 0% in a, I don't know a term for it, but I guess I'll call it like a high growth game, kind of. So like you kind of feel the missing stat more than if you're playing something like FE8 or FE7. You don't really notice the missing stats as hard or as much. So it is like important. That is a Mage Dragon.
Well, I'm just gonna player phase him.
Yeah. Alright, we can just wait. I don't think our Hyperius wants to bait a Mage Dragon.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm just gonna player phase him, right?
I think they're
I'm curious
called Shadow
if
Dragon,
Swagperius would live. Does live.
I mean, he's just baller.
No reason not to.
That's the EXP combo, I guess. We've talked about Vidians, we've talked about EXP.
You wanted to talk about Smite, I believe?
Oh, yeah. So, you get a home in this map called Smite. It's basically FE7 Luna. It has 0 might, cuts through resistance, it's pretty accurate, and I think it has some crit built into it. It's effectively FE7 Luna, which kind of makes you wonder, like, why is it called Smite of all things? Or at least to me, that feels like a really odd name for it to have. Like, I think it's, if you read its description, it's like its R button description states like Smite the Insolent or whatever with this tome. But the real reason it's called that is it used to be a light tome that scaled off magic and struck defense. It was like a defense. It was like the opposite of a bolt sword, the opposite of like a lightning sword. So, but from what I understand, it did really weird things with like silencing. Like you actually could not silence the Smite tome because of how like spells and resistance and how something is categorized as magic works. And because it kept breaking stuff, they sadly just had to get rid of the idea and just make it a light tome. So it kind of, I don't know, I kind of wonder why like the name didn't get changed at some point to be something like more in line with like, I know you can't call it Luna because there's already the combat art Luna. So like that makes it a little awkward.
You could call it Luna. Luna exists as a skill in Fire Emblem 8 and also as a weapon in that same game. So you could call it that.
I guess you could, if Eclipse wasn't already a Dark Tome as well, I guess you could call it Eclipse in reference to FE10 Eclipse, because it cuts through defense. but like Eclipse is already a thing in GBA Emblem.
You could call it Pierce.
Oh, there's already a tome called Pierce. Sadly, it's the armor effective light tome.
Right.
So that's why I think it'd be like a little awkward to like find a name for it.
Yeah. Totally, brotally.
I was going to say, if we're going to talk about EXP, do we segue into what level you promote your units at?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. I think it's different in different games, but yes. Let's talk about that.
Promotion level is not a one-size-fits-all. I don't think you can just say you always promote at level 13, no matter what game you're playing.
And not just games, units, too.
Yeah, certain units want to promote at different levels. Because I know there's still quite a few people out there who still want to wait until level 20 to promote.
You wasted experience.
I was that way for the longest time. I was a diehard, like, you need to wait until level 20 to promote. Because promoting any earlier is like potential level ups you could have gotten on that unit that you can no longer get, because now instead of becoming 2020, they can only become 1220, and that's 8 whole level ups you're missing out on. But over time, like I gave promoting at earlier levels a try, and I kind of realized, like, oh, wait a sec, you mean I get new weapon types, an extra point of movement, a stat jump earlier than 4 maps before the game ends?
There's also okay, I think that the early promote people sometimes overstate this. I say as one of said early promote people. Let's not lure you until I can get the Paragon Band on them. But in a lot of games, getting to 2020 is a rarity without using optional grinding. Or even, you know, if there is no optional grinding in the game, a rarity, like, at all.
I think the question that, like, made me snap into reality and go, like, oh, wait, you're right, was someone just asked me, I couldn't remember if it was in, like, a Discord channel or whatever, or it's probably on Miiverse, for all I know. So it eventually asked, like, how many, like, you promoted level 20, name a single time you have gotten one of those units you promoted to level 20 to level 2020. And I stopped and I was like, oh wait, you're right. That's like you are never hitting 2020, like, unless you like hard funnel or like do optional battles.
Okay, so the reason I said sometimes I think people exaggerate it is much like promotion is not a one-size-fits-all, I think whether or not you hit 2020 is also not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, it's...
And I would say in a lot of games you do often cap not only your level, but oftentimes relevant stats. Like Thracia is a game where I feel like my units, even the ones that don't, or even the ones that, I feel like a lot of my units in Thracia will hit level 20 by, like, the end of the mid-game. Even the ones that don't promote it, like 10 or anything.
Do you need Bannerland?
Radiant Dawn is sort of like the obligatory... Do we what?
Do we need Bannerlands to hit the Oko threshold?
I thought we only needed...
I know those are the earlier ones, but I don't know if these are higher leveled or higher statted.
It was 68 out of 63, so the Bannerlance was entirely unnecessary, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
We'll just be safe. There's no reason not to do... Like, this is... I don't feel like doing the math, so we'll just be safe and do this. But yeah, like, Radiant Dawn, obligatory, like, mention of, because it's such a long game, people usually hit 20-20-20 if you're using them, right? Like, you know, Fiona on the bench isn't hitting 20-20-20, but I'm assuming we're using people, and for more than just, like, rescue dropping, right? Like, it's someone who's a primary unit in the army. But even outside of, like, games like that, where it's like, well, you know, this game is a million chapters long, I feel like in Fire Emblem 9, most people hit 20-20, because you only really master seal, like, Riss.
Yeah.
We gotta heal up Yu so we can double Lion Lady Mace. Oh, she's so close. The Arcanea games are also ones where I feel like it's fairly trivial to get someone to cap, regardless of when you promote them. Fates, I think not every unit's going to cap, but like your primary combat units are going to cap, even if you promote them late. But I think they also often cap their stats. And that's the other thing, is that how much do the levels matter beyond, like, stats? Both in terms of, if you have good enough stats to survive, like, 30 enemies and OHKO all of them anyway, does it matter? And also, frequently units will cap their relevant stats well before 2020, well before even, like, 1520, right? Like, Merida, who's also a controversial unit because...
Tome.
Right. Merida is also a controversial unit because growth unit bad, which she's not. Like, I think there's a growth unit bad mindset that needs to be completely eradicated. What's your fucking defense? 16, 12. We can banner lance you. Oh, that's water. Okay, we banner lance. Or do we need Blair Spiration too? 7 plus 5 is 12. Oh, is she just shy, even with Blair Spiration?
Oh.
God damn it.
Upsetting.
And they're both 16.
Is there?
There's nothing else we can do to bolster strength, right? Oh, there is! The axe handle! Right?
Yeah, but it's over here.
That's okay.
We're not on a timer, let's just go get it.
They're stationary.
No, Helto. So, you brought up Merida as an example, and I decided to go to Serena's and look up the average stats, because it shows you not just... Like, it makes it really useful to see, like, what level people cap certain stats. And to use Merida as an example, at level 11, she capped speed. At 20, she capped skill. And
Unpromoted?
At 28, unpromoted. Level 20, unpromoted, she capped skill. And then at 28, she capped strength, which are, like, I think the 3 stats that you only really care about on her. So...
Marida's so fucking good. And, like... She's not even bad at base because her weapon is good. Like, she's useful in a fucking zero growth context.
So with 26 level ups, she will have 4 stats because she kept luck earlier as well. She kept luck at 25.
And that's before scrolls, right?
That's no scrolls.
Jesus
that's with no
Christ.
Scrolls. With no scrolls, after 26 level ups on average, she will cap 4 stats. So, like, it does not really matter when you promote her. I think, like, FE5, especially the 20 caps games, I feel like promotion time is not really important, like, in the slightest. I feel like you just kind of promote as soon as you can, as soon as you get seals.
The biggest factor in the Arcanea games is... The biggest factor in the Arcanea games is, your fucking... Master Seals or promotion items, depending on which version you're playing, come online so goddamn late.
Yeah, shout out to FE11 where you get 3 promotion items until, like, chapter 17? Now I want to find it exactly. I'm already on Serena's. Let's go find it. Because I know they have the list of Master Seals on here somewhere. Tight.
Let's just break this Hell Tome so it's, like, not a problem.
Here it is. So, You get a Master Seal in FE11. You get a Master Seal in Chapter 10, 2 in 12, and then you get your next seal in Chapter 16 out of 25. Like you are 2/3 way through the game, and you get your 4th promotion item in FE11.
That's why I feel like there's a narrative around some of the FE11 pre-promotes, like Medea and Jagan, that they're like bad, right? But they can access promoted class. I mean, Draco Pope Wendell isn't just a thing because of the speed. It's also because if you want a fucking Wyvern, he's one of the very few options who exists.
And hey, like, stats may be low overall in FE11, but it's
not on enemies.
Yeah, not on enemies. I mean, on like players. But flying like Forged Rider's Bane, like that's kind of hype.
Okay, you have S rank stab, so now literally the only person whose staff rank matters is Blair and Simone, but Simone is the one. I guess what we could do actually. This is so fucking degenerate. Okay.
Although, the Master Seal problem in FE11 is definitely birthed from trying to take FE1 and try to like modernize it, but in some of the wrong ways, like adding weapon triangle, bolstering up enemy stats without like giving the players very much of anything to compensate outside of like forged effective weapons.
This is so fucking stupid that I'm doing. Fucking 8 experience on Swag Furious. Let's go.
Oh, since we're looking at tomes that do... Wait, what happened?
He got 1 experience, but he has the Paragon Ring. Am I wrong? Did I read that wrong? 64 to 65. He's at 65 now. Will he end at 67? Wait. Did I read that wrong?
Oh, wait. Oh. Hold up. Let me see.
I mean, we'll see. He's at 65 now. If he goes to 66, it's Sojover.
Okay, so if I had to take a guess,
he's gaining 0.5 experience, and it's getting doubled.
From what I've dug around in like FE Builder, it's because there is no EXP calculation for this. The game is set to give you 1 EXP from miss whenever you don't counter. Like, it is just hard-coded to say, like, you get 1 EXP on miss or if you can't counter. Whereas the Paragon Ring takes, like, the kill and chip EXP formula and then adds, like, a ×2 at the end of it.
So the only reason that I expected it to work different, in addition to the fact that, like, in games like Awakening, right, it works different. Veteran, not Paragon. Yeah. Retina's previous hack, Code of the Burger King, also has a Paragon item. Does Desmond die to this scrub? God damn it. So we can't kill this one with Simone. This one should be enough, right? She's gonna get like 8 million kills with the Paragon. So then, because of that, let's...
I think we can just feed that one to, you know, one of these guys. Paragon Band. Oh yikes! This is with Warded Blow. How much are they going to take on counter? Oh my gosh!
Oh well, I'm gonna kill with Swag Furious. That hits hard. But also, they should live. Even. Let's do the math. If I got them to full HP, 36 plus 14 is 40, 50? Yeah, they would live at 1 actually. Wait, can we? That might be funny to do actually. But in Code of the Burger King, right? Mathis, the unit Mathis, gets a PRF weapon that is the Paragon lance that gives Paragon when equipped, and I would use him to bait ballistas because he would get 2 experience instead of 1 for getting hit in the face.
Interesting.
So it might have something to do with the Paragon band being programmed differently.
Let's try something.
I found a job for Artemis. The worthwhile investment of all those secret books. Look at that!
It's so peak. It works.
We can get more degenerate. We can get more degenerate.
I was about to say you could just pull away the Blair Inspiration or something.
She says, "No, I will do 3 times 2. I will do 3 times 2, Danny. You fucking bitch." All these crits. Oh wait, where's the? It's on Swag Pirius. Damn, that's like 3 kills we wasted. Wasted. It's also not a dragon, so it's a lot less killy XP. But it is in theory 20 kills, and also she has S rank stabs now, so that's pretty cool.
Bonk, bonk.
Wait,
she did 4 damage.
yeah, S rank stabs gives +3 damage, just like all other S ranks.
Well, oh, you can move away Desmond and move in Blair.
I was thinking just do this.
Oh, that also works. Yeah, that plan also works. I didn't think about Wrathstaff doing more damage with S rank. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Caduceus does as well, presumably. I've never done that, or like, I've never done the calcs on it, I guess.
I don't remember doing very much with Caduceus, but I've heard it's very funny to use.
So Caduceus is an S rank physical staff that's very strong. Strong. Like Mother Russia. And I trained up Gaylord, because Gaylord has, like, good strength when trained. And so I did it with Gaylord. I'm really sad that it doesn't give him Gale Force, because, like, Power Staff.
Oh, because you're not clicking the staff action.
Yeah, it is combat, but with a staff, sadly.
I guess I didn't think about that. Power Staff is looking for you to click the staff action. It's not looking for, did unit use a staff?
Yeah.
That's so tragic. Yeah, I didn't use it much because my staffers were too busy staffing most turns to use it. And my staffers didn't really have a strength stat outside of, like, Blair. But Blair was also busy doing, like, stuff. The Caduceus was kind of overkill at that point. I was like, okay, I could use Caduceus, or I could use, like, you know, one of her PRFs, or, like, a tome with, like, the press turn effect or something.
Yo, Blair can Killing Edge, right? C-rank swords at base.
Yeah. That's some of what helps make her training arc with swords not as difficult, is you can just...
The 1%, shit. See, I checked everything except for the crit rate. I didn't check that. Didn't expect that, did ya?
Charlie would never get crit.
They're too epic.
About our unit.
This is how we play around the 1% crit.
I remember. So I know the usual strategy. Send Zeke, like you just have Zeke do the saving. I do remember having fun in a subsequent run, not leaving Zeke, leaving someone else to be the save point bot, and using both lords to like split up and go get multiple seize points. Yay!
We did it, gamers. We did it, Patrick. We saved the city.
Now we just have to wait until we get the bow.
Well, they can ride on the bench until then.
Yeah. Congratulations, Charlie. You have been promoted to benched again.
Yo, this dragon's using lances. That's
Let's
wild.
go, Lance Reaver.
Fucking double lion, let's go!
Oh, it's time. It's time.
Now he can also be benched until Ranger.
been
Oh, how many
benched.
people did I just trigger right there?
So many people are going to be so upset over that. You have no idea.
It was mostly a joke. But I will say only mostly. We benched him last map, like, don't forget that. He's not been, performing up to snuff.
I mean, like, yeah, he has double lion now, but that means we get to use, like, these stats twice. So we'll have to see if, like, doing twice of this is worth one of our highly contended deployment slots.
I mean, he quads people is, I think,
Yeah.
perhaps the bigger thing. So, I know, leaving Zeke behind for the save points if he's, like, capped, if he's at 20, is sort of the go-to strategy, but can I propose a new one that might make people scream? What if every time you want to save, you just bar train to the save point?
True.
It's not
It only
here.
costs you
Oh,
one
right,
turn.
it's... I always think this is a path, but it is!
It is in a sec.
Oh, I kind of hate that.
It's after you seize the next seize point, it opens up the
Yeah,
next
I do kind of hate that. You're a mage dragon, right?
That's an ice dragon.
It just feels like annoying because it's like backtracking. Fire Emblem 4 Chapter 4 moment, which I know you're a defender of, so like that probably doesn't work on you.
Less of a defender, more of an okayer.
My thing is, so I know that the counter argument is like, oh, well, you know, it's not actually that boring because you make use of your movement tools like return and whatnot to get there. To like make it so you're not just trudging back through the trees. And my two responses to that are, firstly, the level 0 response, and the one that I think, is easier to sort of like see the logic of, is, well, but you're still then just waiting once you make it because there is a cutscene playing, right?
Yeah.
Between the green units and the red units. But what I've come to realize is like my bigger problem with it, that is sort of my go-to now for my issue. I don't think that making use of the specific movement tools that you have in Fire Emblem 4 is interesting. I think that return and warp are actually incredibly boring movement tools. And like it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, well, this is a movement-centric map. I'm not opposed to non-combat maps or segments of maps. One of my favorite maps in the franchise is Thracia Chapter 7, which is a very movement-centered map. That is the one after you, it's the final Manster escape map. You've gotten out of the city, and now you are trying to get to Hannibal's Manor while being pursued by some dudes ads.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this is the Cavaliers with Rapiers.
the Cavaliers with Rapiers are chasing you down. Shiva's group is in front of you, and the major challenge that is offered is get Karen to get Safi to talk to Shiva and get Karen to Hannibal's Manor as soon as possible, because once you enter Hannibal's Manor, Hannibal comes out and the Cavaliers that have been chasing you down run away, right? It's a very movement intensive map where you've got multiple people you want to get to different places, because like not only do you want to get, you know, it was just fly Karen down, you know, we can do that, that's no big deal. But we don't just need to get Karen down, you also need to get, oh, how do I, okay, let's rescue you, play for you. You also need to get Safi over, and Karen can potentially help, like, rescue Safi. If you escape with her, she can't anymore. You... Ooh, you don't actually... Oh, wait, this is actually... Ooh, wait, okay, I might have fucked up. Because if we do this... Then you're in range of 2 of them, but they're both... These are both physical, right?
The one on the chest is magical.
You don't move, though.
Oh, he doesn't move.
Okay, so they double, right? They're physical and they double. I think he lives.
Can the Berserker reach, too?
Berserker move? He does.
Yeah, he can reach.
Ooh, gilded, too.
54 attack. Do we have anyone with, like, yoink left?
Yeah, we got a couple. We just yoink. It's not a big deal.
I think we have plenty of yoinks for what we need to do.
Okay, can we get Paragon Ring onto him? Who has it?
I think Simone has it. I don't know if that's the Paragon or Night Ring.
Okay, we'll use Emil to yoink. That's Paragon. But yeah, and Chapter 6 is another one where it's like very movement intensive and you're using, you know, rescue dropping to get people around. Like, I think that movement maps can be interesting, but I just don't find Return and Warp, the FE4 versions of them, to be interesting. I think that the Game Boy Advance warps actually, like, warp skips can be quite interesting in those contexts. Because you have a limited range, right? Especially in ROM hacks, where, because the vanilla games give you Nime, Pen, and Sale, so like you have almost infinite anyway.
You have plenty of like warp utility unit.
In ROM hacks, the ROM hacks that are willing to give you warp oftentimes don't give you a staffer with high magic. Or they make you work for it, like one or the other, right? So you go here with the steel. But yeah, I personally find the, because you're always just sending to the castle. Like, the puzzle, there's no puzzle of how to get everyone back where you want them to be. It's just, oh, I gave warp to this unit, and I'm sending them back to the castle now.
This button makes the unit go to the home castle. This button makes the unit go to another castle that I've already conquered.
Mm-hmm. And there's usually a correct solution if that's what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah. The only, like, mobility staff otherwise is like rescue, but that doesn't exist unless you do like super specific pairings.
Well, and I would argue that rescue is also the incorrect choice there. Like, let's say you have rescue. Well, you move less tiles than just hitting return, right? So, like, why are you rescuing instead of returning then?
Oh, specific for Chapter 4, yeah. Specific for 4, yeah.
In Gen 2, I do actually like Gen 2 rescuing quite a lot. I find the Gen 2 movement stuff is actually really interesting. To me, again, like, just to clarify, all of this is my opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. That's allowed. I give you permission. I'm kind that way.
I think if you disagree with me, you're wrong. And you're just gonna have to live with it.
Oh.
Because I could never be wrong.
Live with it.
When would I ever be wrong?
I disagree with you about that.
Oh god. Wait. My own spells are being used against me. We gotta keep the EXP train going.
Do you like trains?
I love trains.
I like trains.
I have been obsessed with trains since I was like a little kid.
I was obsessed specifically with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Same. I remember having so many Thomas the Train like VHS tapes that I would watch, stop and rewind. Just in my free time, I remember watching so many VHS tapes of Thomas. Oh, I had like other like TV shows and movies that were also train related, but Thomas was the one I watched the most, and I also had tons of like the wooden like tracks in like trains with like the magnets on each end, so you could like connect them to different cars or whatever. I was fascinated.
I had every train in the bunch, and one day my sister stole one of the trains, and so I punched her in the face. and then my mom got really mad at me and said, "You can't punch girls in the face." So now I'm trans. So I can punch my sister in the face next time she steals my train.
It's a fair fight.
It's the
now.
only reason. It's a fair fight now. That's what the wokes don't want you to know. The wokes don't want you to know we all transed our genders so that we can punch people who steal our Thomases.
The ref can't save you now. Yeah, trains were so awesome. So when are we gonna get like a train unit where there's a train on the map? It's like a pretty big map, a pretty large map. And there's a train that's like doing laps around the map every turn, but you can like load units into the train, and then like once you hit end phase or whatever, like there's an enemy phase that plays out, and then right as player phase is about to start, like the train like moves to the next station and like dumps your units out somewhere else. And then it's like cool, they can either get back on the train and go for like to another station somewhere on the map, or you can just like do whatever you want now that you're at that part of the map. And that's the map gimmick. You can make your units ride the train.
So you've kind of just described the APC unit from Advance Wars, but player has control over that.
Wow.
But yeah, the APC is... I guess we'll have Blair. Like, might as well get Blair's staff rank up. The APC is a van that you load your units in and move them around in. But before we get too sidetracked on Advance Wars, can I make a movie suggestion based on Thomas the Tank Engine?
Uh-huh.
Have you heard of the movie Bullet Train?
I thought you were going to say Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I think I've heard of the movie. I haven't seen anything about it, but I know it exists. Like, the name sounds familiar.
So, it is an action movie, where the gimmick is... So, it all takes place on a bullet train, you know, like the bullet trains in Japan. Yeah. It takes place on that. The main character is an assassin who recently became a pacifist because of his therapist saying that violence is bad. And his handler's like, does your therapist know what you do for a living? There's a lot of, like, goofy characters because it just so, like, it coincidentally happens a bunch of assassins and criminals are all on the same bullet train, each with their own, like, scheme that they're trying to do. Like, there's a pair of assassins who were hired to, there are a pair of assassins who were hired to, like, rescue this mob boss's kid, and then there's another person who is on the train trying to kill that same kid. Who has the Night Ring right now? Oh, we don't need Night Ring. We got reposition. There's somebody who came specifically to get revenge on the pacifist, because when the pacifist, like, killed people, his wife was collateral damage. So there's, like, all sorts of, like, assassins on there, all with their own schemes. But the reason I'm recommending it is not just because it has trains in the form of a bullet train, but one of the characters, or the two characters, they're like the assassin brothers who are there they had recently rescued, like, the son of the mob boss from a hostage situation, and they're on the train to bring him back to his dad to get their reward. They're like, grew up together as brothers, and one of them is obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine and talks about everything in metaphors. So, like, when the various assassins are talking to each other, he'll label everyone based on their personality what train they are, and then explain, like, you know, well, Diesel's the troublemaker. You're a Diesel. That was a Diesel move right there.
That's awesome.
And that seems like it's just a throwaway gag, but it's actually tied into, like, a plot reveal later on. It's very, because he has all the stickers, and he labels everyone based on what personality they are by giving them the sticker, and people, like, throw away the stickers because they're like, stop it.
That's so me, for real, for real.
It's very good. It's also just a very good action movie, even if you're not super into, trains. It's really good. The performances are great. There's, like, one actor who I feel like it doesn't do the best performance, but it's also not, like, a huge deal. It's not, like, distracting. It's just like, oh, she's, like, noticeably worse than everyone else. Specifically, like, of the main cast. Like, not of, you know, I don't care if stewardess number 15 flubbed her line, you know?
Unwatchable.
But it's really good. There's also, like, a sub-theme of luck, because the main character is incredibly lucky, and so, like, even though he's a pacifist, he keeps, like, getting into fights and then just, like, getting lucky with how the people get defeated. Or no, he's unlucky, right. He's unlucky, but, like, his bad luck ends up killing people.
Oh, that's good.
But, like, the people he's fighting against...
See, I was busy watching, there was, like, a series of VHS tapes that I remember watching. It was called, like, There Goes A, and then, like, fill in the blank with, like, something, like, a kid would want to grow up to be one day, you know, like, there goes a helicopter, there goes a train, there goes a monster truck, or whatever. And I remember watching the train one a lot. Like, if I turned that on and started watching it, I'm very curious how much of the lines I could, like, real-time dub. Just from, like, listening to it all back to me and going, like, this is the part where you say this. Even though I haven't seen it in, like, over a decade.
That's like my friend's little brothers in the prequel trilogy. They watched it so much that they have it memorized. And then they would watch it, and because they were twins, they would watch it and they would recite the lines, and they would, like, determine beforehand who was playing each character in each scene, so that they could recite the, because, like, sometimes people, like, interrupt or whatever, so that they could, like, it was very cool.
I respect that.
My friend was always like, why do you do this? Like, why would you bother? You're already familiar with this. Which, like, I can understand to an extent, but I also think, like, if I were asked that question about, because so I've recently started, like, watching a lot more television because I have a lot of time to, watch it while I'm editing. Editing's a very, I don't have to, like, pay attention to, not always, but, like, certain videos I can edit, and it's time-consuming, but I don't have to pay my full attention to it. There's some videos that the edits are, like, really intensive, and I do have to pay full attention. But there's some where I want something on the other monitor, right? Something that I can actually pay attention to. And in those instances, watching TV is good. So I got a bunch of television shows, like stuff that I've heard is good that I haven't watched yet. And then I was like, you know what, actually, instead, I'm just gonna rewatch Breaking Bad for the 3rd time. Even though I rewatched it, like, 2 years ago. I already want to watch it again. And I was thinking, like, why am I watching this thing I've already seen when, you know, limited time on Earth, I could experience something new? And here's the answer I have to myself giving that question. If I watch Breaking Bad, I know it's good. If I watch something I haven't seen, I've heard Severance is good, but it might not be, right? You know? So, I could take a risk, or I could just watch something I know I'll enjoy.
Comfort to, like, replaying a game you like, rewatching a TV show you like. Hey, I have, like, YouTube videos by, like, certain content creators that I watch, like, several times over.
Big
just
Yellow.
because... Yeah, Big Yellow videos. I like watching those. Look, when you put out really good videos, like, people want to watch them. And hi, I'm people.
I thought you were a person.
Oh, wait, I am. Bonk, bonk.
Even a double crit doesn't kill here.
That's so awesome.
So we can feed the kill to someone. But who even... Oh, Swag Perius.
Yeah, we still need that. And hey, look at, like, I've done that several times with, like, Golden Sun, even, where I've replayed that game so many times, and I could, like, go play a game that I haven't played before, or I could replay Golden Sun 1, because I like that game a lot.
I forgot to give him Paragon again.
No!
I'm so washed.
Is Swag Pierce the only guy who really needs EXP at this point? Everyone else has kind of capped out what they need.
The only one deployed, I'm pretty sure.
I think everyone's, like, pretty set.
Yeah,
We even have Blizzard.
Horatio's here for Anima. And also
Yeah, we
maybe
want
Light. But you have your staff rank. Yeah, everyone else is just good. Why?
Oh, just wondering if, like, we can just glue the Paragon band to Hyperius for the rest of the map.
Well, Simone, for the most part, yes, but Simone
Simone's not
needs
done
3
yet.
levels. Oh, fuck, wait!
Tragic.
I forgot you existed. Oh my god. Okay.
The sleeping Zerker.
We lost some progress there. Alright, I think this time, in order to make that, like, not a problem, we kill him first, right?
Yeah, I think we just get rid of this guy now.
So 54, 19 AS. So we can actually bait with Swag Perius 100% safely.
I trust. But real quick, before we kill this guy, actually, can we check how much attack this Berserker has again?
59. 54, sorry.
So 54 attack on this Berserker. This is why face tanking in the late game with armors just doesn't hold up anymore.
And he has 19 AS, which is like he's not even capped, right? And they can get a lot faster too.
So this is why a unit like Joseph, who is like, wow, he takes like no damage early on, he walls things. Once you get to like chapter 22, imagine there being like 4 of these on the map, or 3 of these on the map. You just...
And they can all reach you at the same time. Also, fucking should have Iron Ruined. I'm a dumbass. What?
Duh.
How?
Oh, did you check the calcs with the different weapon equipped?
Yeah, lightweight. Fuck.
Yeah, lightweight.
Fuck.
I didn't think about it either.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Okay, so Jacob and I were just, like, chatting because we're friends, and then I realized, like, oh, this would be a really cool conversation to record, so...
Yeah,
if you're watching us kill dragons, you're not doing it for the gameplay, you're doing it for the vibes. Jacob, you were saying that the biggest thing that makes you want to play the hack that I'm currently streaming, Hag and White, is the hybrid classes, because there's a lot of hybrid classes in that game. Do you want to talk about War Mage and why it's, like, your favorite thing ever that has ever been invented, ever?
So... the biggest thing that caught my attention was I was watching a clip of you doing it, and I saw that there was like a class called Spell Sword, and I was like, ooh, that sounds like really cool. And then I saw that it's like a sage with like has like sword animations and has like sword proficiency, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. I love hybrid classes and hybrid units in general. I love like mixing magic and / support with like melee combat. That's just always been one of my favorite things. Which makes me so sad that IS created War Mage, dropped it in FE4, which is like one of the games that it would probably be the worst in ever, and then said, well, that sucked, guess we're never doing that again. But like, it's such a cool class. It's Jugdral, like the 2 Jugdral games, like FE5 has so much in common with FE4, and they didn't keep War Mages. They gutted War Mage from FE5, even though it could have been really cool if you can have Asbel promote into Sage, because he's, you know, he trains to be just like Sed, so it makes sense. He wants to be like Sed. Olwen is a Mage Knight because she wants to be like her brother. She wants to be a Thunder Mage Knight just like her brother. Well, if you're looking for a third option, you can have like Miranda promote into Mage Knight that way, or into War Mage, so that way she's not just another Mage Knight. You can have her like be her own class or whatever. And it would give me a reason to have a War Mage. And I guess something you could do differently with War Mages is like War Mages don't get stabs, while Sages do. Which I know stabs are usually like the better option. Like stabs are really useful in most contexts, but I don't care. I want my sword swinging, spell slinging War Mage back on the front lines.
Or you could give them swords, stabs, and tomes, but worse stats. Might be an interesting way to go about it, because then they could use the flame sword to staff better, potentially.
This is true. I think that's kind of what FE4 does with female War, because female War Mage get C swords, B staff, B tomes, like B in all 3 anima tomes.
Misandry.
But male War Mage, I don't even think they get B swords to compensate. I think they still get C. Like, they just get C swords and then B in the tome types. Yeah, it is just C swords and then B in all the magic types. Which, this doesn't matter too much, because Ahmed is the only male War Mage you get, and he's...
got mid in his name for a reason.
Yeah. They also, both Sage and War Mage get Adept on promos, so even that's the same between the both of them. But it's kind of agreed upon that when it comes to like FE4 Sage versus War Mage, Sage is just kind of better.
Yeah, it's not even really a contest.
War Mage gets some strength on promo. They get 5 strength on promo, but it's not enough to matter. Like the strength magic disparity. I guess we'll use Ahmed as the example because he's the only example. The strength magic disparity on Ahmed is 10. He has 10 more magic than strength. And most FE4 enemies have more defensive bulk than magical bulk, outside of like the couple dark mages you fight. So that 5 strength on promo isn't really doing much, especially when you only have C swords. Like, what are you going to use? Slim sword? Sure, you can use Fire Sword, but... Or you could use Hellfire. That's also an option. And you can't even do, like, funny Flame Sword strats. You can't even do the +5 magic Flame Sword. And range stuff doesn't scale off of magic anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways. But... think about how cool my Miranda would be if I could give her... if she could be, like, a cool War Mage on the front lines. It would also give War Mages like something slightly over Mage Knights, where it would give you a Flame Sword tome, and if you're gonna give them stabs as well, it would give you a Flame Sword staff unit without like dismount penalties, because units like Amalda have to take dismounting penalties. So it would give you like a 7-move indoor Flame Sword staff unit.
Not just that,
I don't think there's another class that lets you do that.
Well, so Nana, they compensate for being your mounted sword staffer by giving her really bad stats. And Amalda is exclusive to one route, joins super late, and is exclusive to one route, joins super late, and has a low enough rank that, like, it is not impossible to get her to the point that you need to, but it's darn skippy hard.
You gotta work for it. You gotta put an effort for it, because I'm assuming you're talking about, like, statuses.
Yeah, like, status staff, yeah.
So she can Magic Sword over, like, Dark Mage stats, and then, like, silence them.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for filling in the gaps that my brain had that didn't make it to my mouth. So that the viewers don't get, like, super confused. Just a little bit. Like I said, it's not a hard map, although 17 resets later. That's the thing, is the easy maps fucking get you. The easy maps fucking get you.
When I'm in something like an Iron Man, I don't lose the units on the scary maps, because on the scary map, you're like always on high alert, you're always like 100%, you're always paying attention. But then the moment a map gets like a little bit easy, it's like, okay, like I can like goof off a little bit, I can read that. Oops, that is 70% for someone to die. Whoops, I just lost the unit.
Whoopsie doodle.
Well. Like you gotta stay focused.
Focus mode, lock in.
So that could be like a little niche that you'd have to rework Miranda in some way, like not make her like a level 2 training project for the game.
I mean, I would argue Miranda needs a rework for a lot of reasons.
Oh yeah, she needs a rework for a lot of reasons, but
I don't even think like her being a project is bad, but like she just needs to be better at it.
Yeah, I think she needs to have like, you know, better payoff-ish, I guess, or I don't know, it can be reworked in some way. The rough part is that you have to play like the annoying forest map, and you get like 1 or 2 less warp staffs for picking her route, and you don't get Sloof and Amalda.
I think the fact that she's often going to lose move on promotion just makes her feel so bad.
Yeah. But if she could promote into War Mage, she gains a point of movement on promotion potentially, and now you have like 6 or 7 movements Flamesword Staffer for indoor maps.
Wait, I've got the vision. So scratch what I said about staffs. What if instead War Mage was tomes and swords, right? Dismounted, but they have 8 move.
Ooh.
So they are, aside from units who've gotten movement levels, the highest move unit on indoor maps. They have cavalry movement, but no canto, and like because no canto and no cavalry movement aid, they are worse at rescuing, worse at capturing, but they have the high movement. And they maintain that movement in an indoor map context, whereas your Mage Knights would not. And that's what sets them apart, is, you know, Mage Knights get Canto, which is really fucking good, because in FE4 you can Canto after, it's Canto plus, basically. You can Canto after attacking.
Yeah, Super Canto. But suddenly you get chucked into an indoor map like the Lancer Castle, there's the defending Lancer Castle map afterwards.
The entire endgame. Like all 3 maps in a row, the last 3 maps in the game are all indoors.
So for those last couple maps, your poor Mage Knights are stuck with dismounted movement, and they have to lose stats from dismounting. What is...
So... Mage Knights, if I remember correctly, Mage Knights have some of the least harsh penalties. I think it's Alfred's class has the least harsh overall. Oh no, Fergus's class has the least harsh overall.
Fergus, because, like, Fergus is just a favorite. You get to keep your sword rank dismounted, and you lose, like, 1 from a couple stats for dismounting.
I love Fergus. I named a cat after him. That cat has unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But...
yeah, so looking at it, Mage Knights only lose a point of strength, skill, speed, and defense when they dismount, aside from the 3 move.
Do you like that dismounted units have to use swords? I think it works in 3, but I don't like it in 5.
I don't really like it in 5. It's... so I can kind of see the vision. I can almost see the vision being like, it's a way to hurt dismounted units because now you have to split your ranks indoors. Now, like, your Finn with, like, B lances can now only use steel swords indoors. So, or, like, you know, well, Dean's a bad example. But, you know, I can see the initial vision of, like, oh, now, you know, your mounted unit who's been building up their rank outdoors, now not only do they have bad movement, but now they have bad ranks. But I don't think that really works, because then you end up with cases like Fergus, where it's like, oh, you can just use your rank in both instances. Or even like dismounted bow calves, because bow knights keep their bow proficiency, they use bows. Mage Knights can use tomes on dismounted. So like, why are Lance Knight and Great Knight like called out in particular? Or same with Pegasus Riders.
I think Bow Knight's keeping it is good because bows in Thracia are very bad. They have the hit of axes and the might of swords. As opposed to in Fates, where they go the opposite. They have the hit of swords and the might of axes, which I think is the correct thing to do. I think that if you're going to make this weapon type 2-range locked, giving it the best possible combat stats is the way to go about it.
For sure, I agree. So I think in my mind, like, you just let dismounted units use their like weapon type. If you're really keen on like hurting their weapon rank so they're not as good indoors, you could always do like you could write it as like they lose a rank when they dismount because they're not as proficient in like dismounted combat. They spend all their time doing like mounted combat with their weapons, so now they have to like do like dismounted combat. They're not as like trained with that or whatever. So that's something you could do, is like make them lose a weapon rank when they dismount, I guess.
I like FE3. It's funny because I like the way that FE3 does it, which is the same as Thracia, but I just think it works better in FE3.
I think some of that is
Jesus Christ, this is an iron sword. It's a fucking iron sword against a dragon. Imperius is just built different. Oh, it's a mage dragon, right? They have no defense. I forgot.
So like,
yo, he's getting there. One level. One level. One level. That's all it takes.
I guess with the FE3, because FE3 uses the weapon level system, so even if you dismount, you don't have to worry about being stuck with like just irons or steels.
And that's why I like it in 3,
level.
Because swords are mostly better than lances, and so the fact that like cavaliers, they lose stats, but they gain a better weapon type by dismounting. I like that. I like that. It makes it so that sometimes you want to dismount in outdoor maps, and sometimes you want to stay mounted because the stats. It's cool. It's a cool trade-off. I don't know. I like it.
Especially since back in the old days with dismounting, you couldn't mount then move. You had to like spend your movement, click the mount button. Yeah. See. Oh my god, it's FE7 Luna, welcome back, Kaga Destiny. But it's not like FE3 and 5, I don't mind dismounting as much there either, because if you choose to dismount, you're committing to, like, I only have 5 movement next turn. Like, I need to make sure that my next action that my unit's gonna take doesn't need them to go more than 5 tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to move, mount up, act, then canto. You can't just... Or no, you actually can't canto if you mount up. That's right, you can't canto if you mount up. So, like, you're kind of deciding when you dismount, like, I'm giving up, like, potentially 3 move across 2 turns, or across a turn. And I like that. I like that you can't just immediately mount up and then move again. I'm not thinking of any game in particular. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fucking 3 houses. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not still kind of upset at how 3 houses did dismounting, because I really don't like 3 houses dismounting.
3 houses dismounting is just a buff to flyers, because they now don't take fucking effective damage ever.
Because now you can just fly up to an enemy, do all your combat you need to do, mount up and move. Like, the only downside, quite literally the only downside I can think of, is you can't mount and dismount on the same turn. So you can't, like...
You get minor stat changes. I want to say not all of them are nerfs. Like, Cavaliers get faster, I think?
It must not be super noticeable, because I didn't... There was never any moment where I felt like my stats were different.
3 houses heads, am I a liar? Tell me if I'm a liar, a hack, and a fraud in chat.
Let's see. Oh wow, the bot actually shows it. Not the stat modifiers. Wow, so if you dismount, you get a point of speed, it looks like.
Yeah, Cavaliers get faster, because Cavalier, like, the horse slows you down. Your speed is contained. Your speed is contained.
I guess it's technically 2 speed, because it says as a paladin you have, like, -1 speed, whereas a cav you have +1 speed. So I don't know if that's saying, like, you'll get 2 speed when you dismount? I don't know.
I don't know. Help, I'm scared, I don't know.
I don't like it. Again, the only downside I can think of is, like, you can't have a Pegasus start dismounted, mount up, fly somewhere, dismount onto a different terrain tile and group of enemies and attack. But, like, oh no, now instead of being S+++, it's S++.
3 Houses is a game of dualities, because there's so many things that it did that I fucking love, and there's so many things that it did that I fucking hate. And that applies to both the gameplay and the story. Like, it really is just a game of dualities when it comes to every aspect of it.
What are some of the things you do like? Because I'm trying to think of stuff that I like about 3 Houses, but I think I'm overall pretty negative on 3 Houses.
I really like combat arts and gambits, and especially how on maddening mode they are really useful. I think that the tutoring system is cool in the early game if you fucking know what everything does, which is not guaranteed, because it's never communicated to you.
Yeah.
In terms of the story, I really like a lot of the characters, especially the sort of like secondary. So I like Edelgard and Dimitri. I think that they are both really fleshed out lords, although I don't like how inconsistent the game is with their characterization. Both across and within routes just kind of frustrates me. But I like their dynamics. I like that it is a tragedy. One of the things that I think is, like, ironic about the Edelgard versus Dimitri discourse, and how, like, both sides of that fandom tend to be pretty toxic towards each other and, like, fucking hate each other, is that in both the Blue Lions and Crimson Flower, right, like, Edelgard killing Dimitri is presented as a strategy. Or, tragedy. Her strategy was to kill him.
Yeah.
It's presented as a tragedy, right? Like, she says she's putting him down like a mad dog, but she also, like, him calling her by, L sort of unlocks repressed memories for her and fucking, like, emotionally rattles her, and she kind of sees it as a mercy, whether you agree or not. I don't think she wants him dead, she just doesn't see a way to proceed beyond that. And then the same thing happens on the Blue Lions route, where Dimitri actually offers Edelgard the chance to surrender, and she, like, tries to stab him, right? With the dagger that was a gift, And in both of these scenarios, they're presented as, like, you know, these people who were childhood friends, and they end up just in this position where they're unable to come to the sort of peace that they want. Now, the thing that I think doesn't work is that the only reason that's the case, especially on the Blue Lions route, is they have a fucking parlay. And I think that the writers were like, oh shit, how do we make it so that, like, because we want this tragic ending, right? How do we make it so that they are in a position where they have to, right? Well, what if Dimitri called for a parlay, and his main goal for the parlay is to figure out what happened when his parents died, because he thinks it was Edelgard, and she comes, and then he just doesn't ask about what happened at Duscar. Because the thing is, if he asked, she doesn't have any reason to, like, not explain stuff that's going on, right?
Yeah.
But instead, he just has to hold the idiot ball for 5 minutes, and it's just like, I know that obviously we couldn't have Rage Mode Dimitri be the Parlay one, because he wouldn't go to Parlay. He would be like, it's Rage time, I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Yeah.
But he literally just had the plot moment where he was like, you know what? I'll stop being a rage monster now. I will instantly recover from my trauma, because that's the thing that happens. And then he acts like a fucking idiot instead of, like, doing the smart thing. Because it's presented as, like, him going to the parlay is supposed to be smart. It's so frustrating.
Convenient stupidity, my beloved. I remember, so I played Blue Lions first. So I know that, like, all of my opinions on, like, which routes I prefer or whatever are super skewed and biased.
Yeah, I mean, that's just sort of how it happens, though.
That's just the nature of it. That's just how a game with multiple routes like that's gonna work.
Especially because they present, like... Fates does this too, where it presents the decision that you're making as if, like, oh, well, you made the right choice. Instead of being like, oh, did you make the right choice? It's just like, yeah, no, you picked Dimitri, that's the right choice. You picked Edelgard, that's the right choice.
Okay, so I don't really care for it in Three Houses that much, but I actually, this is going to sound like madness, but I actually do kind of like how that idea is presented in Fate.
Wait, not you. My cat's suddenly decided she is as
rowdy
10,000 energy. I'm gonna have to let her out of the office, because she just, like, jumped into, like, 5 different boxes.
That's going crazy.
Oh right, we have bow range +1. I was like, how are we doing this?
That's the thing. But weirdly enough, I need to actually go reread the dialogue to like make sure this isn't just my rose-tinted glasses. Wow.
Okay.
But I remember in my very first playthrough of Conquest, the moment that like stuck out with me the most, both in Conquest and Birthright, was at the end of each route. Corrin like finds peace and says like, I'm happy with my decision, I'm happy this is like the path I chose or whatever. And I didn't take that as like the game trying to tell the player like you made the right decision. I saw that as like a character moment of like trying to find peace even though there was sorrow in the path that you chose and that there was hardship. Like finding like solace in that like I am content with my decision, I don't have any regrets, I'm not gonna let this weigh on me for the rest of time. And I don't know why, but that like really stuck out to me whenever I was younger and played like the 2 routes for the first time. I was like, oh, that's actually like a pretty cool like way to handle the ending of like a multiple route game like that.
I
again,
like that, except for the part where then Azura goes, I died because you didn't buy all 3 routes, bitch!
Yeah!
Like, that really takes it away from me, not gonna lie.
Look, when I'm looking at Fate's story stuff, my preferred outcome is just pretend that, like, Azura doesn't exist for most of it.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because I think Azura had, like, a lot of potential as a character, not as, like, the please buy the 3rd route ad, but as like a parallel to Corrin, because her whole idea is like she was like born in Nor and then like kidnapped and like raised in Hoshido, so it's like, oh, she's like the opposite of what happened to Corrin. And I thought like, oh, like they're gonna like play into that some, like in Conquest they're gonna have Azura pop in with moments of like, oh, like, is this really necessary? Like, trust me, like, I grew up with them even though you didn't or whatever, but I don't remember that really coming up that often. Like, the game kind of forgot that was, like, Azura's, like, main hook pre-route
Swordmaster.
Oh, noes.
Oh, good.
Hooray,
okay.
Pillar Tile.
Okay, so we are actually good.
Yeah, I remember being like so disappointed that they didn't like play into like having the 2 characters like run parallel and like have to learn to see that like where they grew up versus where they were born, like trying to see each other's side. But that just doesn't happen. Azura just keeps popping up and saying, hey, by the way, there is a 3rd route that you're gonna have to play, by the way, if you want to see like the true ending.
Well, it's not even just like, obviously the worst thing is that I don't like that there's I don't like that from a story perspective there's a golden route. Like, and people complained like 3 Houses didn't have a golden route, but I was like, good. And I love Rev as a gameplay experience. Like, I think its gameplay is phenomenal. But from the perspective of like, oh yeah, you're getting doubled no matter what I do. From the perspective of like a story. The idea in the story is, let's present this really difficult, like, moral dilemma. Do I side with my birth family or do I side with my adopted family, right? And I like that it's not presented as like, because I think oftentimes in stories of adoption, the adopted family can be presented as like inherently lesser because they're not blood related. And I like that that's not the case, although I guess you could argue Conquest being the evil route kind of is, but that feels like reading into it too much.
Yeah, I actually think they did a really good job at like making you feel compelled to stay with the Norians, because like they, despite being like your adoptive family, it's like, no, they're still your family. Like, regardless if they're your adoptive family or blood family, like that doesn't change anything. Like,
yeah. I agree.
But the problem then comes in, the whole dilemma of the story gets thrown out the window as soon as the devs decided that Korra needs to be able to support the Hoshiden siblings.
Yeah, because then they're just some guys you know.
Because then you get to like the S support convo, and all of them are like, "Oh, by the way, you're not actually like blood related to us."
Get fucked.
So I'm like, okay, well there goes the whole like marketing dilemma of blood family versus found family. Like now it's just found family versus the family your mom married you into. Like that completely breaks the whole narrative that the game is built off of.
And here's the thing, right? I actually think if they had sort of like leaned into that, there's kind of a compelling story in the question of, do you like still side with them knowing that they're in the wrong? Like if instead of it being like found versus lost, they were like, well, Nor is clearly in the wrong, so are you going to defend these like innocent people that you've recently learned like everything you've been taught is a lie this whole time, right? Are you going to switch sides even if it means betraying your family? Or are you going to go back to your family and try to get your family out of the situation that they're in? I've seen some people talk about like Conquest as a sort of metaphor for an abusive parent, and how the sort of the fact that it takes so long for the royals to be able to accept that, like, oh fuck, a
Oopsie.
duck. Oh, this should be fine anyway, right? Yeah, this is fine anyway. Right. I was just trying to I was doing it wrong, but it's okay, whatever. He's Paragon, right? So the idea that like it's sort of parallel to finally being able to break away from like an abusive, in this case, father, but it could be any sort of abusive relationship, right? And how hard it is for people to be able to admit that, right? So there's Swagperius Resolve.
Woo! Taronio activated!
Yo, he's even silver. So that means you're the last training project. Just like the last promise.
No way.
The last promise was that you would be a training project. Yo, if we get everything that we wanted on this map, that's pretty hype.
That would be awesome.
It's 2 levels. We can do that. We can do that, no problem.
Yeah,
and then we just need anima on you. Get to bolting, I think.
But I know we're not the first people to have deep dives on Fate's story or whatever, but
I think we are. I don't think I've scoured the internet and nobody's talked about why the story sucks. But yeah, I do think that like if they leaned into the idea of like, you know, no, these Hoshidans aren't your family, but you should still help them because they're good. They're in the right. They're being oppressed, right?
Yeah, they are. But instead they try to present it as this like both. Like initially, I feel like they kind of tried to push it as this like both sides might be in the wrong or whatever, so you need to like pick the side you want most.
Why must you continue to conquer? Why must you continue to kill? Why must you continue to reconquer? Why must you continue to kill in retaliation?
And then I think at storytelling. And then I think at one point in Birthright, they also tried to lean into this by having like, oh, not all the Norians are evil, because look, there's like this underground city of like people who are happy or whatever.
Then Ryoma goes, damn, this looks like Hoshido except for poor.
I mean, if I was Nor, I would have just grown food, SMH.
Well, people point out how that's just like a silly line, right? I am choosing to interpret it as actually high cinema because it shows that Ryoma is actually out of touch because he's the prince and he thinks everyone lives the same life of luxury that he does. So actually, fucking Hideo Kojima was a fucking genius when he wrote Fire Emblem Fates. That's the Metal Gear Solid guy, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm
who
pretty sure
did the
Hideo
story.
Kojima is Metal Gear Solid, right? And also Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, that's who that is.
Yeah, that was the joke. That was the joke. In case anyone's like, that's not the Fates writer. I don't actually remember his name. So I was like, well, who's a famous author? Who's like a video game author that writes crazy stuff? And Hideo Kojima. Because Metal Gear, it's Metal Gear! Metal Gear! Metal Gear! It's that. That's peak cinema, Your Honor. Fuck a duck! Maybe... Look at that! Shit balls!
I guess maybe for me, like, some of what bothers me about Fate's story is I just really like the setup for the conflict so much. I love the found versus birth family setup, and I was so invested in it whenever I first got the game. I was like ready. I was like, I have to see how this plays out. I need to see like what the consequences of my actions are and how this is gonna go. So maybe that's why, like, I don't know. I haven't actually read a lot of the story in quite a while, so I'm kind of going off of a lot of my memories. But I do very much remember thinking like, oh, like I sided with Nor, that means I get to side with Hans and Iago, who are definitely characters and definitely not just the most evil thing or character you've ever seen.
Hey, Hans isn't evil. He fucking valiantly sacrifices himself to teach Corrin about the weapon triangle. That's fucking nobility right there.
Player phasing into the paired up samurai.
No, right? So, the one yoinkable on the map, you could have brought Holly for a sleep staff.
Just capture?
That's not in this game, right?
It's not.
Okay. Well, because it's in Burger King, which I've been playing alongside this 0%.
Can we go back to like the trickster portrait for a sec? Because we haven't seen any like enemy tricksters up until this point, but like look how cool this portrait is.
You pronounced sexy wrong.
Like I love the trickster portrait in this, so it's so sad that you never get to see it because it is.
What do you mean never? It's literally right there. Fucking, you see it one time. Misinformation on the internet. I'm canceling you.
It's not misinformation if I'm wrong.
It's the definition of misinformation.
I had a follow-up for that, but my brain is so fried I cannot remember what the next line was going to be.
Yo, fry Futurama.
I feel like I was going to say something there, but...
So, now... I just need, like, a level and a half on you. God, this is, like... I really want to get it. I really want to get it now.
It's right there.
I will never use lethality. It'll be a double lion archetype.
But I guess the thesis of... we still have some time. I can go into Fate story stuff more. I don't know if I mentioned this enough, but for the most part, I remember really liking and still liking Takumi in Conquest.
Taco meat.
As, like, an antagonist. I remember really, really liking Takumi for the most part. Like, how they handled him in the story and whatever. Which was pretty cool. I don't like how they handle, like, the last 5 minutes of Takumi, where you get that scene where he's like, actually, I don't hate you, that's just my body hating you. And I was like, no, boo, just don't redeem him, just make him angry. Yeah, I really like Takumi and Conquest. Mostly because they do like a really good job at doing cool foreshadowing with him. And like really cool parallels with him. Like the first one I can think of is like that first shot of like Takumi in chapter 10. Where he's like, you know, you'll pay for your betrayal or whatever, and he's like got the bow pulled back or whatever. And then whenever you see Takumi in Final, he's like doing a very similar pose after firing on you for Final. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this will be just like Chapter 10 where we have to fight Takumi again. We get to play like the best map in the game again.
I mean, I think. Okay, so you brought it up. Final map of Conquest is the best final map in the franchise. So I'll say it. People hate it, but it's the best final map in the franchise.
I don't have a lot of experience with it. My most recent attempt with it was the No Armory playthrough, where me and Robin were trying to get through it, and I very much remember us playing it, and then there was a certain point where like a bunch of enemies suddenly went aggro, and like a bunch of reinforcements showed up, and we both kind of in sync said like, "Oh, like we need to get out of here. This isn't sustainable. We need to leave." So then we rescued over like the last third of the map, and it was like, yippee! We got the Takumi.
I think that there's like a narrative that you need to do the sort of like one turn skip, especially on Lunatic, where there's a lot of very challenging like obstacles. Those being like status stabs with inevitable end, the everlasting reinforcements that start out on terrain that you can't access. They kind of feel like ambush spawns that are you can see what they are. In fact, I think they basically are ambush spawns that you can see what they are, because you can't attack them while they're on that terrain, but you can like see them.
It's an ambush spawn you can see.
Yeah, it's so peak, Your Honor. Okay, Valentine, are you trying to get out? I'll let you out. Hey, it's okay, I'm not scaring you. You need to open the door. Here. Come on, it's okay. It's okay, door's open. Hold on, we'll be right back. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Assuming people didn't just, like, mass unsubscribe, I can explain why I think it's so peak, Your Honor. So Conquest was marketed as the hard game, and I think that it's the only Fire Emblem that really maintains that difficulty, through endgame, in a way that is fair, too. Like, I think a lot of the really difficult things in Conquest late game get labeled as unfair, when it's actually just, no, you just need to have strategies to tackle this. And it doesn't need to be the exact same strategy every time. Like, you don't need to have the exact same broken build. Although, a 1-2 range unit with Soul, whether it's a ninja or a mage, tends to be the solution to a lot of problems. Which is kind of... That's I guess would be my biggest issue. 48 attack. You're up to 34, 19. Okay, so she lives that too. But Conquest Endgame, I think, if you have things like the Silent Staff, which you get on the Ryoma map, for actually playing the Ryoma map and not just cheesing it, and you have, like, Freeze, you have, like, Entrap, you have powerful units on both, like, offensive and defensive, and including, like, resistance, like, people who are good in terms of res, and you just play aggressively so you don't let the inevitable end or the infinite reinforcements stack up, it's very, very feasible to just, you know, vanilla play Conquest Endgame. It's hard, but hard isn't bad. Like, Conquest was marketed as the hard route, you know?
Yeah, they market it as, like, this is the one where you have limited resources, you can't grind, like, maps are going to be... like, the maps are not going to be as straightforward. There's going to be, like, stuff you have to deal with on maps or whatever. Something that also supports that is, I didn't really think about it for the longest time until, like, how different the Dragon Veins feel in Conquest versus Birthright. Where it feels like a lot of the Dragon Veins in Birthright feel very plug and play. Like, you just pop them, you just use them, because look, it's a Dragonbane. I click the Dragonbane button and it does stuff. Whereas Conquest, you kind of got to think about the Dragonbanes a lot of the times. You can't just run to a Dragonbane as fast as possible and click the use button. You have to think about, like, when are you going to actually use it? Like, think about the, Birthright has, like, the trees in the Zola map where it's like, oh, everyone gets healed. And then there's, like, the Ice Trap map where it's like, you freeze the water and it stays frozen. Versus, like, oh, in, like, the Ice Trap map in Conquest, like, you thaw the river for only one turn, so you have to, like, time out when you want to do it.
It's funny you mention that, because I think that's another element of people saying, like, XYZ element of Conquest is unfair, is not making use of the tools that you have, not only in terms of, like, units, but also elements of the map. I was watching a Conquest map tier list, and the person making it really hated the Hinoka map, where the Dragon Vein that turns flyers and not flyers, like, on and off, right?
Uh-huh.
And one thing that they kept saying is, this map is the worst thing ever because 12 move flyers. They just kept repeating 12 move flyers, 12 move flyers. It's literally the worst thing Intelligent Systems has ever done. 12 move flyers. Are you fucking kidding me? 12 move flyers. And I'm just screaming at the screen, they're only 12 move if you don't use the fucking Dragon Vein!
I was scared of that map going into playing it for no armory, but I ended up loving that map. And in my recent playthrough with Robin, I thought that map was so much fun.
Yeah, and it's fun to approach with your different team compositions too, because, like, if you've got a bunch of flyers, you can just go, okay, let's do this. Everyone has high move.
Screw it, everyone has 12 movement this map.
But you can also just be like, well, that's a nice Dragon Vein, but Hinoka. I hope you enjoy your Kinshis being the least threatening reinforcements in Fire Emblem history.
So, I kind of like that map. The push and pull of, like, who gets the higher movement is really fun. But I think I also just really like the narrative of how that fight plays out. Because when I think of these, like, descendants of divine dragons, like, that can, like, mold the earth around them to their bidding because they have sacred blood in their veins, my thought was, like, oh, the end game is going to be, like, when you fight a sibling, it's going to be this war of, like, throwing dragon veins at each other and, like, folding the planet on itself, trying to, like, crush the other. So I like the Hinoka map because it's this really fun push and pull of, like, who has command over the battlefield. Like, it's, you know, Hinoka takes over it for a sec. Well, now you need to potentially rush to a vein so you can get the upper hand again, and then she pushes back against you with another one. It's this really cool, like, push and pull of who gets to be the one in charge and who gets to make the rules about what the map gimmick is or how the map plays out.
I think it's one of the best examples of people use gimmick map as, like, a prerogative. Like, oh, it's got a gimmick, so it must be bad. And poorly handled gimmick maps, absolutely. Rev Snow Shoveling, FE7 Rain, like those sorts of things, right? But there's plenty of gimmick maps that the gimmick is additive, right? Like, think, I really like the Rev map where you're on a bunch of boats in groups of 3, and you have to defend them for a certain amount of time, and then you're able to activate the Dragon Veins and move off of them. I really like the Conquest map with you were saying, the push and pull between, you know, Hinoka's gonna do this, but then you're gonna do that. Like, who's gonna win, right? I like that. I like, in concept, I like the gimmick of 3 forts. It would be certainly a lot better if it didn't have, like, 8 million fucking Cavaliers in FE7.
Oh, I was trying to think of what Conquest map could be 3 forts. I'm, like, going through all the maps, like, wait, which one's 3 forts?
No, the one where... you, like, hit the enemy limit with cav reinforcements, right?
Crazy Beast, that one.
Like, in concept, that's cool. In practice, no thank you.
It's the narrative of like these two like divine descendants playing tug of war to have like this over the top fight where it's not just like swords swinging against each other, but these lords
That's bolting.
like manipulating the terrain and manipulating the environment as a whole to get the upper hand, and it's so cool. It's so over the top and awesome. Which makes me kind of sad that like the other Hoshiden sibling maps don't have as much of that. I know like Sakura rebuilds the walls in her map, but I kind of wish the other siblings had like central veins that like they're using to like push back against your veins that you're using.
Yeah. And even in Rev and Birthright, the same deal. You don't have any of that. Birthright has 2 Camilla maps where she uses veins against you, but you can't use veins against her. So
yeah, I like
it's not quite the same.
I like both sides having access to the veins, and it's just cool. It gives me the same feeling as like in my first couple FE4 playthroughs and like using Holy Weapon versus Holy Weapon, and it's like, whoa, these two like gods among men using these 30 might weapons with big stat boosts.
Yeah.
Going to fight each other. It just feels cool. Let's forget about function. Let's forget about function for just a sec. It makes me feel really cool.
And I think feel is a very important part of like game design. I don't think it's just function that matters. This brings us back to our first thing, where the Vidian's moment feels, even though functionally it's the same as any other, here's a group of units, you can only pick so many of them, Aaron versus Samson-esque situation, right? It feels so different. It motivates you to be like, oh god, these fuckers, these evil fuckers need to die now.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
No, the evil fuckers are the ones that killed them.
Oh.
There's definitely something I can do about it. I can have Kenneth kill his fucking dad for Baron promotion.
Yeah,
that is his dad, right?
I'm very certain it is, yeah.
I always get it mixed up, but I think it's his dad.
But I do love me some good feel moments. I definitely like some good function. Like I like whenever something feels like really tight to play. That's some of what I like about, a lot of moments in like, Dark Souls 1 or whatever. It's like, oh, it feels really good. Like it feels really good to like time your rolls and to like go for weak points or whatever. It feels awesome, or it like functions really well. But I don't know, I'm one of those people that every now and then I don't mind like a boss fight every now and then that's not really that difficult and it's kind of just in place to make you feel awesome whenever you do it. I kind of like those every now and then, and it's like, look at me go, I'm so cool.
I'm the king of France.
I'm trying to think of an example and I'm struggling to think of one now, but I know there's ones like that where it's like, this is very clearly a very easy fight, but I don't care because I feel really cool doing it right now.
Well, you mentioned Dark Souls, the final boss of Dark Souls. I think the final boss of Dark Souls 1, because it's one of the easier boss fights. It's basically just, can you parry, right? Win Lord of Cinders.
Did you pass the parrying tutorial?
One of the things that I don't like fudge nuggets. I wanted to.
Yo, we just gotta give him banish so he'll have triangle.
No, we just give Blair Inspiration.
Blair Inspiration.
But I really like the final boss of Dark Souls 1 being within the lore. He's been guarding the place for like 1,000 million, 100 bajillion years, and he's just worn down. And you're basically doing like a mercy killing at that point.
Which is pretty neat.
And I like it as opposed to the final bosses of Dark Souls 2 and 3. 2 is just like, I don't really care about it from a story perspective, but 3 actively upsets me because it's the soul of Cinders, and it fucking, like, references, it's supposed to be everyone who's guarded the fire and lit the fire since forever, so it, like, mimics the movesets of, like, different builds you could have in Dark Souls 1, which is cool. But then, the final phase, it, like, turns into Gwyn, Lord of Cinders, and it, like, plays a remix of his theme, and I'm just like, this just feels completely unearned.
You don't deserve to use this boss fight.
Yeah, because it's just a difficulty fuck fight. That's a lot of what I don't like about modern Souls, is I think that it took it was like, these are the things that the Souls games are famous for, so we're just gonna, like, lean into them, and it makes it like a rage game, which the difficulty was never the point, or rather, the difficulty being like, oh my god, super hard fuck difficulty was never the point. It was about, like, the struggle, right, and overcoming the struggle.
Yeah, it wasn't, the whole you died thing wasn't supposed to be like, well, like, you're gonna die a lot in this game because, like, we make hard games. It was just a game that just happened to have, like, a steep learning curve, and you had to, like, figure it out. Which I came to appreciate, that I couldn't just run in like I played a lot of Zelda games, so it's like you can't just run in like a Zelda game and start mashing the attack button to, like, clobber through everything in your way. You gotta stop, you gotta study their movements, you gotta go in for a swing when you got stamina. You gotta figure it out. You gotta actually learn the game and learn, like, the ins and outs, and, like, you gotta learn your iframes, you gotta learn, like, your cooldown for swings, like, how long does it take you to go back to, like, a point where you can, like, roll through something after you swing.
Transmask Blair now. She has taken the testosterone pill. Wait,
I unmuted the stream because to listen to the boss music, but it's playing Dragon's Gate now.
What?
From FE7.
What?
This is the FE7 final map music.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's neat. Oh, I wonder if it changes for this last part, because this is where you've learned that you can see, like, in the name of the boss, like, that these aren't, like, real dragons. These are just the simulacrums. So I guess when you hit, like, this story beat, they change it from Forest Interlude to Dragon's Gate 2 from FE7. That's cool.
Even notice.
I like that.
I'm not music brained enough. I
am
I kind of wish I was. It's pretty cool.
I am, like, super hyper aware to, like, music in, like, games and stuff. There are moments where, like, a song, like, a map theme that doesn't work for me can drag down a map considerably just because I don't like the music for it, or I don't think the music's very fitting.
That is entirely fair.
But it's some of what bugs me about, like, Under the Blue Sky coming back in FE6.
That's a glitch, right?
So I don't think
it's gotta be a glitch. You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a glitch or not, because I can see a world where the reasoning behind the music going back is, like, for the commanders is, like, the Western Isles theme, and, like, once you're done with the Western Isles art, like, it goes back to playing, like, the mainland theme. It goes back to playing, like, this is the song that plays whenever you're like, back on the mainland or whatever, or, like, when you're done with the whole arc with the Western Isles. I don't like it because it gives this feeling of, you have Under the Blue Sky for the early game, and it gives this feeling of, like, you are the small boy leading this group of almost an army to, you know, try to deal with, like, the invasion that's happening. And then for the commander starts playing, because Roy has now been put in charge of the Lycian army. He is now like officially the general over everything that's happening. Etruria recognizes him as like the leader of this faction.
Yeah, he's the leader of the bunch, you know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. We get it.
I knew I walked into that one. But then once Under the Blue Sky starts playing again, it almost feels like it regresses almost. Like we've gone back to just being that small boy with a ragtag group of mercenaries that we found lying around. It suddenly doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm like the cool commander over this army now. Now I'm just the small boy leading a group of friends and mercenaries.
You are small boy now.
So that's why I don't like the music going back, because I feel like it kind of like, for me, it makes it feel like the story like backpedals a little bit. And it's like, no, like you're not actually like leading a cool assault on this giant castle. You're just, it's just Roy.
But he's our boy.
He is our boy. So that's my deal with it. I feel almost the same way with I love the first Thracia map theme that plays in like chapters 1 through 3.
Yeah, Leaf's army in search of victory.
Yeah, I love that track. But I almost get the same vibe sometimes where I start up like a map in the last 2/3 of the game and it starts playing that song. And I'm like, I like this track, but I don't think like this theme I associate with like Leaf aiding the Free Blades in like doing some liberation work like on their own. This doesn't feel like the song that should be playing for the prince has returned to his throne and now we're gonna go push the Thracians back or whatever. But that's the fun part about interpretation. Maybe like other people can see a reason behind it, can see like a benefit to running it that way. Hey, critical. A musical moment that I really like. Oh, so I have talked about how much I don't really care for Rev that much, but Rev has one of my favorite musical moments in the entire series. It might actually be my favorite like musical map moment in the whole series. It's chapter 17, the one where you fight Iago.
Mm-hmm.
I love that map starts with I think it's Vanity Judge is the name of it. The one that plays in like a bunch of it plays in chapter 5. Like whenever Corin's a big scary dragon. It starts playing that map theme, and it's like this uneasy map theme, like, oh, anything could happen. It almost sounds like it'd be fog music, almost in my opinion. Like the vibes I get from it feels almost Fog of War-ish. And then after Xander and Leo shows up, the music changes. It changes to a Darkfall, which is a really good track, and it kind of gets you pumped up as like, oh, like the boys are here. Like it's like we're gonna push back and we're gonna win. This is it.
Yeah.
It's such a good moment.
It's pretty epic.
Oh, I love it. It's one of the best moments where IS has used music for storytelling, and it just gets me pumped up. It's like, let's go! The guys are here. We're gonna push back, because that's the same turn a bunch of reinforcements show up, right? There's like a bunch of guys that show up, and Corin's like, well, guess they have reinforcements. Guess it's over.
Yeah,
and Xander and Leo
a
are
shit
like,
ton of
no.
cavaliers and generals show up, and then Corn's like, fuck, and then Xander. The quote that plays, the voice line that plays is, "You have the devil's own." No, I don't think it's "You have the devil's own luck." It's like a smug chuckle from one of them. I think Leo.
Probably Leo. And they run onto the screen, player phase, shifts across the screen, and it starts playing the new track, and it just gets you real fired up, like, we're gonna push back, we're gonna win. And I wish more maps in mainline changed map themes partway through whenever a big story beat happens, because I think that is a powerful tool that IS does not use enough. But I also really like music, so maybe that's just something that would really work on me. but I know it would definitely work for me. I would get so excited. I'd start like jumping and clapping whenever that happens.
The Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme.
Yes, that is like, look, that's they changed the music to play this or whatever. Oh, you could give like Galzus his own theme, like his own like leitmotif that plays, and then whenever he shows up like on screen to chase you, like you can mix that into the map theme, so it's like, oh, like he's so strong, he's taking over the map music. Hey, we got Stalwart! And we got the S rank lands.
Yeah, this is our second S rank, right? Because you get the light first.
Yeah, I think this is the second one. So this is our...
It's pretty lame. It's just a 1-2 range high might. Like, it's less special than the others.
I know it gives you some stat boosts, but there's not, like, very much flavor outside of, like, it's just a really good weapon. But Stalwart's what we're here for. I love the Stalwarts.
Well, we're not just here for the Stalwart. There's another thing that Zeke gonna gain.
Ooh, his Ascendant Seal!
He becomes Sword, Lance, Axe, Bow, Cavalier. And
It's
Jacob,
so cool.
we're gonna send we're just gonna send the Vulnerite to the storage as a
Woo,
clever
new
reference
skill.
to not stealing a Vulnerite in Chapter 1.
The Vulnerary that never was.
Have a look. It's in a book. A reading rainbow. Anyway, Gerard's the bad guy. We already told you that though. It's the spoilers. Bye. Yeah, bye. Toodles.